Chapter 531. Theft. These guys have been waiting for the opportunity. Li Cheng has the magic weapon containing the attack of the wind tribulation, they dare not act rashly in front of him. The four women have always acted together, there was a tortoise shield to protect them, and there was probably no chance. The only chance was when Yang Chen was separated from Li Cheng and the four women. Yang Chen would definitely not be the first to enter the portal, who knows what's inside. At this time, it must be Li Cheng with a strong offensive power. Then Sun Qingxu with a tortoise shield was the second, followed by the others. Yang Chen would definitely be the last and would not put his own women in a dangerous place. They were very accurate, Yang Chen and the others entered the portal in this order, and when Zhanxian, the last of the four women, disappeared at the portal entrance, a dozen old demons had already vaguely surrounded Yang Chen. When Yang Chen was in the portal, these old guys all saw clearly, it seemed that all the credit was on the black flying sword and Yang Chen almost didn't do anything at all. Greed blinded their judgment, these people completely forgot the leisurely performance when Yang Chen used his fingers to test the strength of the demonic eye at first. Everyone felt that Yang Chen's black flying sword was the key to purifying demonic eye, so they all started to play with the idea of getting the flying sword. There was such a strong demonic eye on this portal, who knows if there was any inside. If they could get this sword, even if they are the last to enter, there may be a considerable chance for them. Choosing the right time, Yang Chen really fell into the trap and no one came to rescue him. A lot of old demon heads felt hot in their hearts. Except for that black flying sword, Yang Chen has a lot of good things on his body. If they could catch them all in one go, the benefits would be no less than a trip to the Heart Demon sect ruins. Although someone had sworn the Heart Demon oath before not to deal with Yang Chen, it was before the door was opened. No matter what they do now, it would not break the oath. This was a godsend opportunity, they could only blame themselves if they don't take advantage. Black flying sword. Do you mean this one? Yang Chen didn't feel surprised at all, but took out the 9 nether flying sword obediently and swung it slightly and asked the old guy who was directly opposite him. Yes, this is the one, put down the flying sword and nothing will happen to you. The old demon on the opposite side sneered, completely devoid of the expectation that Yang Chen could open the door. On the contrary, he stared at the 9 nether flying sword closely, as if he was looking at some peerless beauty. After brushing, Yang Chen directly raised his hand and threw the flying sword in front of the old demon. The flying sword circled several times in the air, the tip of the sword rushed down, and it was directly inserted more than 2 feet in front of the old demon's position. The hilt was still shaking tremblingly, and the black body of the sword was indescribably dazzled. Unexpectedly, Yang Chen would abandon his sword so simply. This could only be explained by one thing, that was, Yang Chen now has no life-saving materials to save him. More than a dozen Dacheng stage masters bullied an early Yuanying stage junior, if they can't get what they wanted, it would be too unreasonable. Yang Chen was very cooperative, this made them feel very comfortable. Previously, Yang Chen and Li Cheng relied on their magic weapon for body protection, plus the magic weapon of the wind tribulation, which caused everyone in the valley to lose face, and now they finally took the face back in their hands. The old demon on the opposite side laughed and said to Yang Chen. As long as you cooperate, I will spare your life. In the smug laughter, he stepped forward slightly and reached out and grabbed the hilt of the 9 nether flying sword. Swipe, the flying sword was easily pulled up by the old demon and he got it in front of his eyes. The old demon was about to investigate carefully. Suddenly, there was an aura that made him horrified. Under his shock, he was about to throw the 9 nether flying sword far away, but suddenly realized that he was completely unable to perform the action. His whole body seemed to have been frozen and even the smallest muscle could not tremble. Not only that, but he even seemed to be in a strange space where he could see nothing, hear nothing, the silence was terrifying. There was a burst of unspeakable irritation in his mind. He wanted to shout, but he couldn't say anything. Under his depression, his body could finally act. But the first action after he was able to move was to squirt out a mouthful of blood and his whole face was constantly changing with various expressions, but the blood in his mouth was squirted out one after another, for a while, the ground was completely red. The other old monsters around were shocked. The posture in front of them was obviously that they had miscalculated the situation. At this time, the first reaction in everyone's mind was to escape immediately. It's just that it was too late to think of escape at this time. With a bang, the entire 9 nether flying sword exploded, forming a large cloud of black fog covering the sky and the sun, covering everyone including Yang Chen. Once engulfed in the black mist, everyone could no longer see anything, nor could they hear any sound, and even their spiritual awareness could not reach far, only 2 feet of things around their body could be detected. Small black dust penetrated through their mouth, nose, eyes and ears, causing unbelievable tremors. The body seemed to have been cut by thousands of swords, the flesh and blood on the body flew up and fell from the air, the whole scene was like a blood sea slaughterhouse. If someone could see the situation in the black mist, they would definitely be frightened. After a while, the black mist gradually faded and all of it condensed in one direction and soon returned to the appearance of a black flying sword. Except for Yang Chen, no one could be seen around. The dozen old guys just disappeared without a trace. I can't help it. Yang Chen put away the 9 nether flying sword, shook his head, and walked into the ruins portal like an okay person, and his figure disappeared from the portal very quickly. All resolved. Stepping out of the door, Yang Chen heard Gao Yu's familiar voice, and a smile appeared on Yang Chen's face for a while. The 4 women and Li Cheng were both in the air. Yang Chen jumped up and floated to everyone's side, and then smiled and answered Gao Yu's question. It's resolved, it's okay. After giving the 4 women a smile, Yang Chen began to look around. The boundary where everyone was now was the center of a huge plain. The plain was thousands of miles in radius, and at the far end of the plain was a circle of undulating mountains. The plains and mountains were densely covered with jungles. Standing on the ground, you can't see the surrounding scene at all, they were all blocked by the jungle. They don't know why, in this space, there was no trace of demonic Kai, which was very weird. The demonic Kai was absorbed and condensed by the formation on the stone slate of the site's portal, and it will not permeate here at all. Li Cheng saw Yang Chen's doubts and quickly explained. Yang Chen only then understood. After looking around again, he found that there were only a few of them here. The old demons who had already come in were nowhere to be seen, no one else was around. The technique that can control the heart demon is very interesting and worth seeing. Li Cheng said as he looked around, judging the direction to go. From the naked eye, nothing could be seen at all. This must be the gate of the inner demon sect, but where was the specific main hall? After so many years, it has been surrounded and covered by these dense jungles. It was estimated that after the old demons came in, they just chose a random direction and tried their luck. No one knows where the good things were, so they could only use this method. There was no better way for Li Cheng. After all, it was a place that no one has been to. It was the first time to open it in tens of thousands of years or even longer. It was normal that no way could be found. In all directions around, there was a spiritual power distribution, but it was very uneven. Moreover, it looks desolate here, and they don't know how long the protective formations inside have been ineffective. At least the place where the portal comes in was already surrounded by jungle plants, giving a feeling of vicissitudes of life. Aling, take a closer look at which direction we should go in, it's obviously not a good idea for everyone to find this way. Yang Chen turned to Gongsun Ling and asked her the line of passage everyone should explore. Naturally, Gongsun Ling, who has the geographical map of mountains and rivers, was most suitable for such things in the ruins. As long as she walked around this area, basically all the terrain would be formed in the mountain river geographical map. As the owner of the mountain river geographical map, Gongsun Ling could easily find any suspicious locations. Following Gongsun Ling's guidance, the group of people sat in the shuttle and circled fast on the plain in less than half a day. These tens of thousands of miles of rivers and mountains have been formed in the mountain river geographical map, and Gongsun Ling soon discovered an unusual place. There are a lot of architectural ruins on the surrounding mountains in 4 directions, but they are all dilapidated and you can't see what buildings they are. Gongsun Ling pointed in 4 directions one by one and said to Yang Chen. Yang Chen's spiritual awareness has reached its maximum and now he has explored the mountains thousands of miles away. His spiritual awareness threads felt the silhouettes of the old demons scattered in various directions, analyzing which direction the old guys had taken the most. Where are the traces of the formations? Yang Chen asked again. After thinking about it, he added, the traces of the strongest protective formation. Also, the location where the spiritual veins are most concentrated. The best things were definitely the best protected. Therefore, the strongest defense formation was definitely the thing that was most needed to protect. Spiritual vein was the foundation of a sect. As long as you find these 2 things, you don't have to worry about finding precious materials. In the direction where the old demons have the most people, it seems to be the biggest spiritual vein. However, if something like a spiritual vein was open to protect the best thing, it must be the one that consumes the most. The spiritual vein with the strongest spiritual power now may not necessarily be the spiritual vein with the strongest spiritual power back then, after tens of thousands of years or even longer consumption, who knows what would change. Gongsun Ling herself was a formation cultivator, so her sensitivity to formation was not comparable to others. In particular, she had something heaven-defying like the mountain river geographical map. After careful analysis and comparison, 2 places were identified. The 2 places were basically in the same direction, all of which are in line with these 2 characteristics. There are traces of formations, and there are exhausted spiritual veins around, and some not too strong spiritual power has just been brewing. In fact, there were more than 20 places that meet these 2 characteristics, but the formations in these 2 places were quite special. One has the largest range, which encloses a huge building complex, while the other has the smallest formation range and only protects a room the size of it. The formations in both places have failed, but they were the most doubtful. Others don't have Zhanxian's means, so they could only find the spiritual veins that seem to have the strongest spiritual power now. They don't know that those spiritual veins are strong because they have never been consumed and have been gestating. Finding the old demons over there, although they dare not say that there was no gain, it was certainly not the biggest winner. At least Yang Chen had discovered that the 20-odd places with traces of formation were basically the first group of old monsters who were looking for them. After all, 3 days in advance, the area of tens of thousands of miles was enough for them to eliminate some impossible places first. However, for the remaining 20 or so places, no one could tell which one it was and could only occupy one place for a while and look for it carefully. This was a job of luck, and naturally it was also the eyesight and opportunity of everyone. In this direction where Yang Chen and others rushed, there were 2 old demons, but the 2 old guys were all concentrated on the trace of the formation in the area. There was a large group of buildings there, and it takes time to find something suitable. This area was almost 400 to 500 miles in radius, and the 2 old demons each occupied one direction to check carefully. In other directions, there were already a few sporadic figures looking for the places with traces of the formation. It was estimated that they are the second batch of cultivators to come in. The area was so large that not a few people could control it. Seeing this, Yang Chen simply went to the smallest place first. The size of the room does not take long to search. Zhanxian pointed the way, and Yang Chen drove the shuttle, wrapped in the sea jasper lamp, quietly bypassing the large building complex from the ground and went straight to the small protected area. When they arrived at the ground, everyone came out of the flying shuttle, looking at the small ruins covered by various plants in front of them. They couldn't help but sigh. No matter how powerful the protective formation was, it seems that it can't compete with the years. The formation has been completely invalidated. The original stone room should be protected. But now the stone room was also rooted by various jungle plants. In this corner, there was still a corner of some stone sculptures exposed. "Let's search around," Li Cheng said, and everyone began to look carefully here. The place was really small, everyone was a Yuning stage master who could easily dig 3 feet into the ground. Soon, Zhanxian found a piece of jade slip from the ground that looked a little incomplete. If you're enjoying the content, please give it a like, comment, and subscribe to Fantasy World for more. Chapter 532. The Origin of the Heart Demon Sect. "What have you got there, can you show it to this old man?" While Zhanxian was holding the jade slip and using his spiritual awareness to probe, an abrupt voice suddenly came over. The master of the voice thought that his sudden voice would surely make these juniors jump in shock. But his voice has been on the ground for a long time, but the few people have not even the most basic surprise, as if they have already known that he has followed them. "It's just a piece of broken jade slip, wait until we finish reading it," Yang Chen said smoothly without even turning his head, not taking the guy who followed him seriously. The old demon who made the sound was also considered a dexterous generation. He didn't come in the first few batches, but in the middle and back order, probably half a day earlier than Yang Chen and the others. The old man thought about it after he came in, because the time he came in was almost 2.5 days, so in any case he couldn't keep up with the old guys who came in the first time. But he was not reconciled to get nothing, so he thought about it. He felt that Yang Chen and the little guys were a bit mysterious, and maybe they could gain something. So, the old demon guarded near the gate, waiting for Yang Chen and the others to come in. Sure enough, as expected by the old demon, when Yang Chen and the others came in, they looked for a different direction from the others, which made the old demon surprised and happy, and finally decided to quietly follow Yang Chen's group. However, Yang Chen's shuttle was too fast for the old demon to catch up. But he was not afraid of losing them, because the old demon has a magical cloud sable pet, which could track the smell of people thousands of miles away. Before Yang Chen and the others came in, the old devil had already let his pet remember the smell of Yang Chen and the others, so even though Yang Chen and others were fast, the old demon was still far behind. The reason why Yang Chen wanted to sneak around those old guys was not because he was afraid of them, but because he was buying time and being afraid of being disturbed. After all, there are so many destinations to choose from, and if the target you choose was known to others, it would be troublesome, so there was no big fight on the road. After coming over and starting to search, Yang Chen and Li Cheng soon found the old guy who was sneaking over. However, the old demon didn't care who was there alone, so he didn't reveal it aloud and looked for it himself. Now the old demon jumped out by himself, and no one paid much attention either. What everyone cares about is what was recorded on the broken jade slip that Zhanxian found. "Boy, don't you want to give me any face?" Listening to Yang Chen's words that made him wait without care, the old guy suddenly became furious. When did a daching stage demon cultivator feel so angry with the younger generation? Want to die? Li Cheng was even more annoyed. He turned his head and stared at the old guy and asked. In Li Cheng's hand, there was a magic weapon containing the power of the wind tribulation. A cultivator who was more powerful than the old guy also turned into ash under one blow. This was what he saw with his own eyes. Even if there was only one blow left, it was not something he could bear. He was alone in front of him, so it was better not to suffer the immediate loss. Looking at the old demon who suddenly became honest and well-behaved, Sun Kingsu next to him couldn't help but laugh. Sun Kingsu's laughter made the old demon blush for a while, but the old demon, who was next to Li Cheng, did not dare to express anything, but stared at Sun Kingsu fiercely with a hateful look and then turned his head away. Zhanxian had quickly read the records on the jade slip and then handed the jade slip to Yang Chen as usual. Yang Chen took it and swept away his spiritual awareness, but the content was not much and Yang Chen quickly understood it. After that, Yang Chen gave the jade slip to Li Cheng and Li Cheng gave it to Sun Kingsu. After turning around in the hands of Gao Yu and Gongsun Ling, it finally returned to Yang Chen's hands. Look again to see what's there. Yang Chen, who got the jade slip, didn't mean to show it to the old demon and put it directly into his Qianqin bag. This scene caused the 7 orifices of the old demon standing beside him to breathe fire. Looking at this posture, these young people didn't take him seriously at all, as if they hadn't seen him. What else could make him angry more like this naked neglect? He almost couldn't help but be violent, but in the end he was overwhelmed by Li Cheng and didn't dare to speak rashly. What was recorded on the broken jade slips was not about a precious pill recipe, but a brief introduction to the Heart Demon sect. How the Heart Demon sect was formed, how many years it has been here, how the ancestors established the sect by relying on an array of demonic Kai to achieve the Tao, etc. and so on. This jade slip, if they put it in the old demon, it was estimated that it was taken directly and thrown away. But before the old demon saw it, he thought it was a terrific record and he was itching to look at the contents of it in almost every possible way. Others searched for more clues among the ruins, but Yang Chen stood by and stared in a daze. This jade slip should summarize the details of the record, especially how the ancestors of the Heart Demon sect used array of demonic Kai to achieve the Tao, and the story was lifelike. There was even a record of when the demonic Kai appeared. According to this record, the demonic Kai was not born in the demon continent but suddenly appeared on a certain day. According to the ancestors of the Heart Demon sect, it may be that a certain point of the demon continent suddenly communicated with another realm and these demonic Kai oozed out. The demonic Kai was not strong at the beginning, only faint strands. The ancestors of the Heart Demon sect were invaded by the demonic Kai and then in the process of fighting the demonic Kai, they discovered the benefits of the demonic Kai for tempering the heart. So it took almost a few hundred years to research and master the demonic Kai. The way of cultivation and the creation of the Heart Demon sect. So much was recorded on this broken jade slip. While Yang Chen was thinking about it, Gongsun Ling yelled happily and found another piece of jade slip which was also broken. The old demon next to her was overjoyed and immediately felt a look that made people feel stressed. Taking a look at Li Cheng stared at him with a smile that was not a smile. The old demon's heart felt cold and he shrank his neck obediently and he didn't dare to move. It's still a story, it's boring. Gongsun Ling grumbled after scanning it and handed the jade slip to Yang Chen. This is the real treasure. Yang Chen took it over and swept it with his spiritual awareness and then the smile on his face became even brighter and he said casually. The real treasure. The old demon who was listening next to him trembled in his heart and finally couldn't help it and started to take action. Yang Chen's hand shook violently, grabbing a green light that flew to his hand. The green light stopped and returned to a small green mink which was being pinched by the neck, struggling non-stop. The old demon had already sacrificed his flying sword, but seeing this scene, he was suddenly alarmed, he could no longer attack Yang Chen and he quickly retreated wanting to escape. The little green mink was the cloud mink he used to track the whereabouts of Yang Chen and others. Its speed was extremely fast and when it was dispatched, it was silent. Even if the old demon himself didn't have a relationship with the flying sword, he would not be able to find the flying sword's trace. The old demon had secretly used it on several cultivators who were having even higher cultivation bases than him and no one survived. Just now, the old demon ordered the cloud mink to snatch the jade slips in Yang Chen's hands. Yang Chen was able to catch the cloud mink at such a speed, the speed and accuracy alone was superior to anything else. The cloud mink used to be able to figure out daching stage masters, but now it was caught by Yang Chen. If he doesn't run at this time, when will he escape? It's a pity that the old demon's calculations were still somewhat wrong. The pressure Li Cheng put on him was so great that even Gongsun Ling had already set up her formation and didn't notice it. He fled out dozens of feet as soon as he shook his figure. After running for a while, the old demon realized that something was wrong. It seemed that no one was chasing him. Turning his head, he didn't see anyone's figure, and his spiritual awareness couldn't detect the existence of anyone. How could this be? Just now Yang Chen and the 6 of them were still there, why was it empty now? The old demon didn't believe his eyes, so he took courage and turned back. What excited the old demon was that there was really no one in the ruins. Yang Chen and Li Cheng didn't know where they had gone. The old demon was overjoyed, a God-given opportunity. He could also see what the real treasure Yang Chen mentioned was. He quickly made up his mind and began to look for it carefully by himself. Zhanxian Ling put away the mountain river geographical map, her small face full of smiles. With the addition of a dashing stage master, the mountain river geographical map was getting better and better. After handing the jade slip to Li Cheng, Yang Chen began to ponder again. This piece of jade slip records the reason why the sect closed and left. The demonic eye was getting stronger and stronger, the center point of the demonic eye could no longer be approached, the surrounding demon beasts were all demonized and their strength had been improved. Most of the disciples of the heart demon sect couldn't bear this degree of demonic eye. Although the formations left by the sect could effectively shield the demonic eye, it was not a long-term solution after all. Groups of demonic fiends began to attack the heart demon sect. Countless disciples who had gone out to cultivate were slaughtered and the demonic eye was madly infiltrated. It was no longer possible to stay here and the sect could only choose to leave. However, people leave, but these foundations left by the sect cannot be lost, especially some of the pure heart magic treasures left by the ancestors that rely on demonic eye to refine, have not been completed. As a last resort, the sect could only seal the mountain gate. The seal was left to be opened by the descendants of the sect. If they want to completely solve the problem of the demonic eye, they need to destroy the center point that oozes the demonic eye. The trouble was that the ancestor of the heart demon sect, who had the highest cultivation base back then, could not do anything about the exudation point. According to the speculation of the ancestors of the sect and later masters, that point was a point that crossed the 2 realms, that they did not know how it appeared. To destroy it, one must have the power to cut the space. It was almost impossible to have this ability unless they could get another magic weapon that could cross the 2 realms. Zhanxian Ling may only see the history of the heart demon sect and the reason for leaving from this, but Yang Chen saw more. The reason why they came in was to be able to get some cultivation methods. Regardless of whether it was a Dao path, the demon path, or the monster race, this method of heart demon cultivation was a treasure. No one could hide from heart demons, even Yang Chen was no exception. But if you can use the inner demons as a boost to your own cultivation, the efficiency of your cultivation would be doubled. Although the 2 jade slips did not record any cultivation techniques of the heart demon, Yang Chen could probably guess some clues based on the origin of the heart demon sect. Since the ancestors of the heart demon sect relied on a wisp of demonic eye to trigger the heart demon, and after overcoming the heart demon, they were able to start a sect. What was the difference between this process and Yang Chen leading the 4 women to use the 9 nether flying sword to cultivate the heart demon? Even if Yang Chen and the 4 women were allowed, they could also use this method to find a way to cultivate the heart demon. Perhaps the only difference that needs to be said was that with the ancestors of the heart demon sect, the demonic eye was not fierce, but now that the demonic eye was rich, it wasn't known how many times it was, and the difficulty of cultivation was higher. In this way, it would not make much sense for Yang Chen and the 4 women to find any cultivation techniques of the heart demon sect. As for Li Cheng, Yang Chen even doubted whether Li Cheng had already mastered this method, as he had never been troubled by demonic eye. What worries Yang Chen was the record in the jade slip that the demonic fiends had attacked the heart demon sect in groups, which was really beyond Yang Chen's expectation. He knew that the demonic fiends were eroded by demonic eye and turned into monsters with only instinct but no thinking. Could it be that they could be commanded a long time ago? If this was the case, then the demon continent was likely to brew a huge disaster. Once the strength of the demonized demon fiends breaks through the outer sealed circle, then the mortal world would suffer a catastrophe. It was known that the demonic eye could increase the strength of demonic fiends. Now both demonic eye and demonic fiends were trapped in the demon continent. Once it spreads to the sea outside and then reaches the territory of the Dao sects, it would be absolutely a disaster of extinction. The problem was that no matter how good the sealing formation was, it was also vulnerable to a single blow in the face of the long river of time. This could be seen from the ruins of this heart demon sect. Now the sealing circle of the demon continent could still seal the demonic eye, but what about thousands and tens of thousands of years later? Does the day when the spiritual power runs out, does it mean that the mortal world would become a demon realm? Yang Chen was not a saint, but in the face of this kind of thing, he would also do his part. Destroying that demonic eye oozing point was a great merit in itself. If there was a chance, Yang Chen doesn't mind making a point of merit. Of course, these were all speculations, and no one could confirm them. Moreover, it was not that a disaster would happen soon, and it was impossible to say whether the demonic eye would automatically shut down in the future. Yang Chen was thinking about this now, it was not realistic. While thinking, Gao Yu found another piece of jade slip. On this piece of jade slip, there was a method of fusion and used to cut off the space of two realms, which was speculated by a master of the Heart Demon sect. It's just that this method requires another spatial awareness that could cross the two realms to be successful, but in this ordinary time, where does the spatial awareness that crosses the two realms come from? This was not the space of the Qianqin bag, it was just a spell of the universe in the sleeve, and the difference between the two realms was not the same. Crossing the space of two realms, this was not a spatial spiritual awareness communication, allowing the spiritual awareness to enter another realm. Just thinking of the spatial spiritual awareness cultivation method, Yang Chen suddenly vibrated and thought of a space that crossed two realms. If you're enjoying the content, please give it a like, comment, and subscribe to Fantasy World for more. Chapter 533. Dream. The Immortal Executioner Stage, this was another magic weapon that Yang Chen remembered that could cross two realms, and it could be regarded as the only space that could cross the two realms. The immortal realm could send the prisoners to be executed into the Immortal Executioner Stage, but the executioner enters from the mortal world, which was absolutely crossing the two realms. What was recorded on this jade slip was simply a method of directly refining the space. It was just a guess, and it had never been tested. The guy who came up with this method probably didn't have the opportunity or the ability to test the place where the demonic eye erupted, and it was definitely not something that ordinary people could bear. This could be seen from the fact that the entire Heart Demon sect was forced to move and sealed the sect. The others did not have the experience of Yang Chen, and naturally they would not have thought that there would be something like the Immortal Executioner Stage. But in Yang Chen's eyes, this was simply a mouth-watering meal. It's just that Yang Chen won't rush this idea at this time. Not to mention the usefulness of the method in this conjecture, Yang Chen was not sure if he could find the entrance again, just because of the illusory location of the Immortal Executioner Stage. Li Cheng didn't say anything. It was estimated that in his eyes, he has only seen some of the origin of the Heart Demon sect and the ability to cultivate with demonic eye, which was of no significance to him. But in the eyes of the four women, these three pieces of jade slips were quite different, anything that could make Yang Chen say that they are treasures, they were definitely good things. The head of their family dare not say anything else, his vision was definitely first class, and he has never lost sight of what he was after. The four girls, while continuing to search for anything worth seeing, wondered in their hearts. In fact, Yang Chen had already hinted enough that the Heart Demon sect was able to cultivate with demonic eye. What was the difference between this situation and the practice of using the nine-nether flying sword with the help of Yang Chen before? It's just that the predecessors of the Heart Demon sect have summed up a set of systematic cultivation methods in hundreds of years. These four wives of Yang Chen, whoever took them out, were all talented geniuses, and they could naturally understand such hints. What's more, besides the introduction, the content on the jade slip also briefly summarized some methods of using demonic eye. These were enough for the four women to combine their actual conditions to sum up a set of effective cultivation methods. What kind of cultivation method was more suitable for you than the one tailor-made according to your own situation? If you are a mediocre person, these words were naturally a lie, but these problems do not exist for the four women, especially if you have Yang Chen and Li Cheng next to them, they don't need to worry. After searching carefully, there was no other thing worth checking. In this room, it seems that there are only 3 pieces of jade slips left. There were also some wooden spirit positions, which have long been decayed, and only a few pieces of spirit card fragments made of some special materials could make people recognize what these are. This place was obviously the ancestral hall of the Heart Demon sect, no wonder the Heart Demon sect uses a spiritual vein to protect it. It's a pity that time flies, even with the support of the spiritual veins, it would not escape the decaying fate in the end, only these unweathered jade slips were left. But these 3 jade slips, there was no need to think about other things at all. There was no need for the cultivation method, if it was a magic weapon, to be honest, everyone was from a sect, so there was really no need for suppression of the demons. Those things, at best, are the icing on the cake, and they could never be the icing on the cake. That being the case, there was no need to quarrel with those old guys who were looking for things. It's better to find a safe place to figure out how to use the demonic eye. The purpose of coming to the demon continent was to gain experience, except for the experience of killing, the rest was the influence of demonic eye. Now that there was a method guide from the predecessors of the Heart Demon sect, it was a rare opportunity for everyone. The 4 women talked about their plans, Yang Chen and Li Cheng had no objections. They know what Li Cheng was thinking, but Yang Chen also planned to try that piece of method about refining the connection between the two realms. As for the choice of location, everyone gathered together and decided to choose near the portal of the Heart Demon sect. If they want to leave from here, they have to go to the door. Isn't it a pity that so many daching stage masters of the magic path let them take their things and leave? For one, they didn't get any experience from them. For another, Gongsunling's mountain river geographical map was more powerful than the cultivators, and it would never be too many. When it comes to the realm of cultivation, Gongsunling was now the highest. Because of the support of the mountain river geographical map and a group of masters in the Yuaning and Daching stage, unconsciously helping Gongsunling to refine her life source magic weapon, Gongsunling's cultivation base has been improved all the way and the turtle head was monopolized among the 4 girls. She was now in the middle Yuaning stage close to the late Yuaning stage. Next was Zhanxian. It must be said that Zhanxian's combat awareness was definitely the strongest among the 4 women. She has not even dabbled in refining alchemy, focusing on cultivation and flying swords. Under these circumstances, her will was tough, her cultivation base was pure, plus her original cultivation time was longer than the others, her realm was second only to Gongsunling, and she has also reached the peak middle Yuaning stage. Then there was Gao Yu, because she was a water and fire dual cultivator, combined with the support of the water and fire dragon horn flying sword and the help of the purple heart heavenly fire prepared by Yang Chen, although she has not been able to absorb and refine the purple heart heavenly fire, she was still very diligent. She has broken through the early Yuaning stage and has reached the middle Yuaning stage. The worst was Sun Qingxu. Despite her outstanding aptitude, because of the abolition of her cultivation base at the beginning and the doting of while wanting for a while, Sun Qingxu started a little later than the other girls. But even so, she was already at the peak early Yuaning stage and it was only a millimeter difference compared to Gao Yu. Regarding the realm, it was Yang Chen, the husband, who was the worst among them. In these days when he came to the demon continent, Yang Chen spent most of his time practicing with the heart demon, with few killings. In addition, the 10 spiritual powers of the yin-yang 5-element secret arts were improved, which was much slower than that of the females. However, when it comes to combat effectiveness, Yang Chen was not afraid of anyone except Li Cheng. The 4 wives know this, and no one would compete with Yang Chen on this. Li Cheng didn't seem to have changed anything else. In the early Yuaning stage, it seemed that he was not very diligent, but Yang Chen couldn't see through him all the time. Fortunately, he was now a friend and not an enemy, otherwise Yang Chen really doesn't know how to get along with Li Cheng. Soon everyone rushed to the entrance gate. When they were here, Gongsunling directly unfolded the mountain river geographical map, covering all the surrounding area of more than 10 miles, under the coverage of the mountain river geographical map. Gongsunling was now in the middle Yuaning stage, and she had more control over the mountain river geographical map. She believes that even if someone comes here without the perverted strength of Yang Chen and Li Cheng, they would not be able to find that they are already in the mountain river geographical map. In the formation. Once trapped in the formation, in addition to being trapped by the formation, they would also be attacked by the masters in the mountain river geographical map and they would not be able to escape. This was definitely a once and for all method, anyway these people always have to leave, as long as they come near here, with a low cultivation base and low defense, they would be directly sent to the mountain river geographical map. As for those defensive guys, they would eventually be attacked by a group of 4 women. As long as those guys were not teamed up, no one could resist the combined attack of the 4 women alone. The mountain river geographical map plus the 4 women, not to mention the pressure from Yang Chen and Li Cheng, could definitely take a lot of advantage here. It could be said that Gongsunling's mountain river geographical map would be even more powerful. It's a bit insidious to say, but it's not a place of morality in this demon continent. Those guys haven't paid attention to Yang Chen and others until now because they were still searching for good things. When they vacated their hands, the first one to deal with was Yang Chen and the others. The method of purifying the demonic eye was the reason for those people to take action. Who doesn't know the benefits of demon orbs? Yang Chen could completely purify it, how could they compare with his own complete purification? This method must be in his own hands, even if Yang Chen refuses to hand it over, this person must also control it. On the demon continent, there was no reason, but strength was the reason. Li Cheng was very relieved, he sat directly on the ground. Silently retreat and cultivate, without any precautions. Next was Yang Chen, followed by the 4 women. Gongsunling was the last one, and she was also responsible for everyone's safety and security. However, with the support of the mountain river geographical map, everyone was confident and bold in cultivating, even if there was any danger, there was no need to worry. The 4 girls were all comprehending the method of fighting against the inner demons, but Yang Chen began to carefully study refining space. He doesn't know how the ancestors of this heart demon sect imagined it, crossing the 2 realms in space. Even thinking about refining it for personal use. But this was not wishful thinking, but a very reasonable speculation. At least based on Yang Chen's experience, this method has absolute operability, and it also has unique insights into the connection between the two realms. If it weren't for Yang Chen's previous life and he had been to the spiritual realm, he also has detailed memories of flying across space, then maybe he can't understand some of the statements inside. But Yang Chen was not tempted, a highly maneuverable technique, plus the entrance of the Immortal Executioner Stage, if it could be refined by Yang Chen and integrated into the Immortal Beheading Blade, the Immortal Beheading Blade would immediately have the power to cut space. This was a terrifying power that cannot be possessed even with the blessing of Xiao Yan. At that time, who would be Yang Chen's opponent? Just studying the methods, Yang Chen spent half a year comprehending word by word. Combining his own memory, carefully pondering the mystery and understanding the mystery of space. After half a year, Yang Chen finally breathed a sigh of relief, completely deciphering this technique. It must be said that the ancestor of the Heart Demon sect was indeed powerful, and it was possible to deduct this method to this point by relying on imagination alone. Although there are some, but also because of the flaws caused by the inability to actually operate, Yang Chen could completely rely on his own experience to make up for it. The rest was for it to be tested at the entrance of the Immortal Executioner Stage. But at this moment, Yang Chen hesitated a little. For one thing, he hadn't thought about it for a long time and he didn't know if he could reach the entrance. Secondly, if he refines the entrance of the Immortal Executioner Stage, if the immortal world has trouble again in the future, he won't know how to solve it. But Yang Chen soon let go of these worries. If he could find the entrance to the Immortal Executioner Stage, he will just have to try to find out, he doesn't need to worry at all. As for future troubles, because he left the Immortal Executioner Stage, the executioner was not dead and it was impossible to replace another executioner in the mortal world. After refining the entrance, maybe he could still get in and out at any time. Isn't it the way to solve the problem? The only trouble was that Yang Chen hoped to refine the entrance of the Immortal Executioner Stage and the Immortal Beheading Blade together, and now that the Immortal Beheading Blade has reached the final stage of refining as his life source magic, it would take some time to complete. It may not be possible at this time and it needs to be postponed. Regardless of these, Yang Chen still has to try if he could find the entrance to the Immortal Executioner Stage. The last time he entered the Immortal Executioner Stage, it was through a dream, but Yang Chen knew that it was the immortal realm that used great strength to summon him, and it took so many masters' cultivation bases. Now he wants to find the entrance to the Immortal Executioner Stage by himself, but it may not be that easy. Yang Chen has not slept and dreamed for many years, it was not so easy to relive it once again. The first was to sleep. Yang Chen's cultivation base does not allow him to fall asleep naturally. He can't guarantee that he can still dream with the help of drugs or other means, this was the problem. What's the difficulty? When he finished explaining the method and talking to everyone, the girls were a little puzzled about Yang Chen's requirements for dreaming, but Li Cheng said in a big way, as long as you are tired, won't it work? Isn't it easy to go to sleep to recover from your work? If you fall asleep, you might be able to dream. Speaking of which, Yang Chen has forgotten the feeling of ordinary people because of his long cultivation journey. As long as you are tired, you will naturally sleep. When you fall asleep, dreaming is possible. The way was the way, but for Yang Chen, it was a troublesome thing. It was by no means so easy to let the current Yang Chen with his cultivation base become exhausted. Even if it was something that could consume energy, Yang Chen couldn't help it to recover quickly on his own. Try your best to attack and defend. Seeing Yang Chen's embarrassment, Li Cheng smiled and said, it just so happens. I want to try my skills too. Let's play a game, how about? Before Yang Chen had time to answer Li Cheng's proposal, the four women had already applauded. They have already seen Yang Chen's skill, but Yang Chen has improved again and the girls were not very clear about his strength. As for Li Cheng, he was even more mysterious. Now that he was actively trying to compete with Yang Chen, how could it not make the four girls happy? The fight might shock those people, why don't we go to the mountain river geographical map to fight? Li Cheng looked at Yang Chen and said slightly provocatively. Okay, let's do it. Yang Chen also deliberately weighed Li Cheng's fictitiousness and reality. This proposal was right in his arms and he immediately agreed. If you're enjoying the content, please give it a like, comment, and subscribe to Fantasy World for more. Chapter 534. Battle. Yang Chen fought with all his strength and no one had seen him do so, including Yang Chen himself. In the mortal world, it seems that there has not yet been an opponent who Yang Chen needed to use his full strength against. But now, there was one. Li Cheng was able to kill the great elder of the greatest heaven sect with a single sword strike. This strength has surpassed the strongest in the mortal world. With such an opponent, Yang Chen couldn't help but get excited. Everyone was in the mountain river geographical map, even Gongsun Ling was no exception, no one wants to miss this rare competition. Don't hold back. Li Cheng stared at Yang Chen with the same excitement in his eyes. "I know you are strong, but don't worry about hurting me." These words were simply arrogant. Yang Chen's spiritual awareness had reached the third-grade human immortal realm. The level of the Yellow Turban Warrior's refining technique had reached the river-turning strength. It was not something an ordinary master could take on. Even if he was replaced by the ascended elder Wu Xiongwu, he did not dare to say that Yang Chen could not hurt him. But when Li Cheng said so, Yang Chen didn't doubt it at all. This was not Yang Chen knowing Li Cheng's details, but pure intuition, the kind of intuition of facing peerless masters. Since Li Cheng said that, Yang Chen hadn't planned to keep his hands, so naturally he was going to fight with all his strength. He yelled at Li Cheng, "Brother, be careful." And he rushed directly at Li Cheng. In the beginning, Yang Chen did not use magic weapons, but purely attacked with his fists. He wanted to know the gap between himself and Li Cheng in all aspects. In the memory of his previous lives, there was no concept of such a peerless master as Li Cheng, and Yang Chen was also eager to know some details about Li Cheng. "Good, come." Li Cheng's eyes were equally excited. The same bare-handed greeted him and blasted out with a punch. Bang, the two fists slammed into each other firmly and Li Cheng snorted, his body flew backward like a kite with a broken line. The river-turning strength was definitely not something that everyone could bear. You know, this was a technique that could only be cultivated by those yellow turban masters in the immortal world, and he has cultivated it to this point. Even the ordinary immortals can't compete, let alone the mortal world. Even if Yang Chen hadn't experienced various baptisms of the heavenly tribulation and his body hadn't been as powerful as a real yellow turban warrior, after all, the realm of his physical training had reached there. Li Cheng and Yang Chen, compared with physical strength, Li Cheng was definitely not his opponent. Under this situation, Yang Chen once survived the tribulation. His body would be strongly transformed. It could be said that every time the tribulation was passed, the strength of his body would be more than 10 times higher than the original. Li Cheng's body flew far away. But he immediately controlled his figure in the air, laughed and yelled, and after a little adjustment, he rushed towards Yang Chen again. But the punch, Li Cheng took advantage of the force to fly out, but his body was not damaged in the slightest. This strength has already impressed Yang Chen. In Yang Chen's imagination, even if he was as strong as Hu Yun, he might not be able to block his punch. Even if he takes advantage of it again, he will always be hurt by his fist. Li Cheng's performance was beyond his imagination. Seeing Li Cheng coming, Yang Chen was naturally unwilling to show weakness and threw his fist to meet again, and the two fought like this. This time, Yang Chen didn't just fight Li Cheng with his fists, but applied the attacking techniques that he had trained in the demon continent, which was simple, straightforward, and fierce. Not only that, but Yang Chen's body style has also become ghostly, swift, and angled. In an instant, Yang Chen was surrounded by Li Cheng. Or to be more precise, in Li Cheng's eyes, apart from Yang Chen's fist, there was nothing else around him. It's just that Li Cheng was so irritable, he laughed long and immediately waved his fists and started a counterattack. The sound of banging was endless, but the four women around could no longer see the trajectory of the two people's attacks, only two vague shadows moving at a very fast speed could be seen. The spiritual awareness of the four women firmly locked Yang Chen and Li Cheng. This level of battle could definitely benefit them a lot. On Li Cheng's body, they don't know how many punches Yang Chen had landed. This time Li Cheng didn't use his strength to fly out and Yang Chen didn't give Li Cheng a chance to fly out. He had just received a punch in the front of the chest and there was no movement in his body, so he received another punch in the back, so fast. Even with the help of the absorption outline, it can't be done. It seems that Li Cheng also knows that Yang Chen was great and he didn't evade at all. At the same time, he was watching Yang Chen's flaws and constantly swinging his fists to counterattack. The fist hit Yang Chen's body, causing a dull voice. Both of them were people who could find the opponent's attack position in an instant, and their fighting consciousness was almost equal. Often when Yang Chen hits Li Cheng, he will also be heavily attacked by Li Cheng. It has to be said that Li Cheng's toughness was beyond Yang Chen's expectations. Even in the simple comparison of strength, Li Cheng was not as good as Yang Chen, but the difference was limited. The power of each punch was almost able to shake the tough skin that Yang Chen has tempered by the yellow turban warrior body refining technique, and the force reaches the internal organs. Fortunately, after all the power had experienced the buffer of the flesh and blood of the epidermis, it was no longer so lethal, just shocking the internal organs. If Li Cheng's strength was stronger, Yang Chen knew that he would be violently shaken and injured. But even so, Yang Chen's internal organs have to withstand a tremendous force of shock, which was also mixed with great pain for Yang Chen, who has not been able to synchronize the power of physical cultivation to the internal organs in the high section of the river, turning strength. However, the opponent Li Cheng was also uncomfortable. How could Yang Chen's strength be easy to handle for ordinary people? With a punch, almost the whole body was shaken, and wherever he punches, it often ends with broken muscles and bones. Fortunately, Li Cheng's recovery ability was more terrifying than it seems. Between the intervals between the two punches, the places that were injured by the punches could be restored as before. What was particularly scary was that after each recovery, that part of Li Cheng's body seems to be a bit tougher than before. Although Yang Chen's boxing power was great, at this moment, it seemed that he was helping Li Cheng temper his body. In the same way, Yang Chen's internal organs were the same. After each punch shakes it, Yang Chen would quickly call the yellow turban warrior body refining technique to quickly recover. After hundreds of punches come down, he would not see any movement in the internal organs for a long time. There was also some looseness, and Li Cheng's fists began to temper him. The more they fought, the more enjoyable they became, and they had forgotten their original intention at the beginning and were immersed in this process that they could both vent and take the opportunity to experience. The four women watching from the periphery couldn't feel the changes in their bodies, but the combat experience they used made the four women like a treasure, indulged in them, and could no longer extricate themselves. The attacking enemy must use speed, strength, angle, and timing. Although Yang Chen and Li Cheng just clashed fists together, the fighting consciousness that came out was unprecedented, and it was so wonderful that the four girls were even more excited. They didn't dare to slack off a little, for fear of missing any small battle scenes. Unknowingly, just this brute force duel has lasted a whole day. Yang Chen hit Li Cheng with a fist, and he could already feel the stronger counter-shock force. In the same way, Li Cheng's boxing power seemed to have no effect on Yang Chen's internal organs. Li Cheng became more and more addicted, yelling at the booming popularity, and then, before Yang Chen had any means, his spiritual awareness had already pierced Yang Chen like an invisible sharp sword. Yang Chen's sea of consciousness, before being stabbed by Li Cheng's spiritual awareness, had already begun to churn. Almost at the same time, Yang Chen's counterattack had already begun. The two spiritual awareness met in the air, making a loud noise out of thin air, shocking the four women around. The escaped spiritual awareness residue even forced the four women to retreat a few tens of feet outwards, which was unconsciously oppressive. This kind of sight shocked all the four women. Yang Chen's spiritual awareness was strong, and the four women had long been psychologically prepared, but they didn't expect Li Cheng to be so terrifying. They don't know what kind of secrets Li Cheng's family has in order to produce such a heaven-defying young master. The degree of surprise to Yang Chen was even stronger than that of the four women. Yang Chen was now cultivating the three purities secret art handed down by the Grand Supreme Elderly Lord. It was a heaven-defying cultivation method from the immortal realm, but Li Cheng could actually fight him to a standstill. Among them, Yang Chen was equal to each other, and Yang Chen couldn't help but admire it. Li Cheng's spiritual awareness was pure and condensed, with an awe-inspiring aura. Compared with Yang Chen's current third-grade human immortal realm spiritual awareness, he did not lose out. Even in some respects, it was even better. Why would it not make Yang Chen extremely confused? But now was not the time to investigate how high Li Cheng's spiritual awareness cultivation base was, because what could be such a realm? The two were fighting, and they were a little distracted. They didn't dare to say that they were on the line of life and death, but they were indispensable for being sturdy. Even though Yang Chen's internal organ tempering has improved a lot, he still doesn't want to be beaten a few times for no reason. In the mountain river geographical map, just like outside, time passes, the sun rises and the sunset was almost indistinguishable. This battle between the two of them engulfed the attack of spiritual awareness. Once again, it lasted almost 2 days and 2 nights. In his previous life, Yang Chen didn't make a lot of achievements in spiritual awareness cultivation. In this life, he has only gained some advantages in spiritual awareness under the extensive and profound guidance of three purities secret art. Compared with his knowledge of refining and fire seeds control, he was not even better. But in the battle with Li Cheng, Yang Chen's eyes were opened firmly. Li Cheng's spiritual awareness attack definitely made Yang Chen feel overwhelmed. Even in the previous day and a half, Yang Chen was almost pressured and taught by Li Cheng and occasionally fought back several times. This was definitely an experience that was impossible to ask for. Was there a more appropriate way to understand and master these spiritual awareness attacks than in actual combat? Yang Chen's spiritual awareness also became more and more understood in this uninterrupted battle. Most of the things that were known before but did not know why were also made clear in this battle. This alone has benefited Yang Chen. Both of them felt tired. If it's just the squandering of spirit power, it will not make the two of them tired to such a degree, but the attack of the spiritual awareness and the constant tension of the nerves, coping with the opponent's attack and counterattack, were the most costly process of mental effort. However, the more they fought, the more they had no intention of stopping. Instead, they became more energetic and attacked more fiercely. The four women who were watching were unable to keep up with the speed of the two people's movements. It was often that they just wanted to understand the mystery of a previous attack, but when they came back to their senses, they found that the two had already fought at least 10 more moves. But despite this, the four women have gained a lot. Watching Yang Chen and Li Cheng's 3-day battle, it seems that they have benefited a lot more than they had been surrounded by hordes of demonic fiends outside for several months. Plus spirit power. Li Cheng shouted again, his voice full of excitement. With a shout, a surging wave of spirit power was mixed in the fist, and it smashed down towards Yang Chen. Of course, Yang Chen was not to be outdone. The Yin-Yang 5-element secret art moved to the extreme in an instant. The positive Yin-Yang 5-element spiritual power was directly arranged into 2 formations of Yin-Yang 5 elements array. 80 lines of spiritual strength directly hit Li Cheng's chest. At the same time, the 5 elements array spread out on his body, ready to meet Li Cheng's spirit power bombardment. Boom, almost at the same time that the 2 punches met, a huge sonic boom spread far away. Both of them shook their bodies severely, then gritted their teeth and bombarded each other regardless. Now every blow of the 2 of them carried a force of heaven and earth, and the momentum was so great that even the 4 women who were on the sidelines were somewhat appalled and worried. If such an attack fell on their body, it would impossible to withstand for any of them. Unless they used the mountain river geographical map or the tortoise shield, there would be a serious injury or even death. Yang Chen and Li Cheng, who were in the battle, both unanimously admired their opponents. Yang Chen's current Yin-Yang 5 elements formation attack has at least twice the enhanced attack effect. Even if Yang Chen has not gathered the great Yin-Yang 5 element secret art, his attack power should not be underestimated. But Li Cheng was able to take it over completely. This was not using any magic weapon, just relying on strong physical and spiritual defenses. It must be said that Li Cheng's strength was beyond Yang Chen's expectations. Li Cheng on the other side was also full of surprises. Yang Chen's performance was beyond Li Cheng's expectations. He originally thought it was just a positive and negative attack on the 5 elements of yin and yang, but unexpectedly, there was also a large array to boost. Until now, the 2 talents finally had a real feeling of awe for each other. If you're enjoying the content, please give it a like, comment, and subscribe to Fantasy World for more. Chapter 535. Everyone has an advantage. After joining the spiritual power, the power of the attack once again increased a lot. Especially Yang Chen, whose spirit power was directly mixed with the Yin-Yang 5 elements formation and the heavenly spirit earthly fiend, directly increased Yang Chen's attack power by several times. With the spirit power shown by Li Cheng, the next thing was really reluctantly. However, Li Cheng was not so friendly. He used his whole body to stop Yang Chen's attack with a great deal of strength, and he even had room to counterattack. However, when encountering Yang Chen's 5-element spiritual power, the power of the attack was like entering a big grinding wheel, and after 9 out of 10 of them was consumed before acting on Yang Chen's body, Yang Chen was quite relaxed to block these attacks. It's just that Li Cheng was far more powerful than that. Whether it was his current spirit power or spiritual awareness sum up, the characteristics were just one word, pure. It was so pure that it made people disheartened, and even the spirit power of Yang Chen's 3 purities secret art and the spirit power of the Yin-Yang 5 elements secret art were not Li Cheng's opponents at this point. If Yang Chen's spiritual awareness was 80% pure, then Li Cheng's was at least 95% pure. If Yang Chen had 60% spirit power, Li Cheng also reached more than 90%. This kind of purity was far from what Yang Chen could achieve with simple refining. It was an effect that could only be achieved after 1,000 tempering and hard work and an indescribable refinement. With Yang Chen's current cultivation base, he was far from comparable. As for other people, it was even more unimaginable. People thought that their spirit power was already very pure, but at least 40% of the messy spirit power in it was invisible to the cultivators at this stage. Everyone thinks that the purified demon orbs have no side effects, and that's why. Insufficient cultivation base has led to insufficient insights. Many of the shortcomings in cultivation were such that they had accumulated a little bit in the spirit world and the immortal world before they erupt, so that by that time, it would take many times or even dozens of times more energy than the current stage to make up. One effect of the pure spirit power was the exceptional ease of control and the unparalleled amplification effect in certain effects. Regardless of attack or defense, Yang Chen could not be able to stand by. If it were not for the Yin-Yang 5 elements formation and the heavenly spirit earthly fiend formation, Yang Chen could keep up with Li Cheng. While Yang Chen was amazed, Li Cheng on the opposite side couldn't help being surprised. Never had he thought that Yang Chen had such a skill. The simultaneous cultivation of spirit power, yin and yang, and the 5 elements was already unexpected, and it was even more shocking to have the effect of the heavenly spirit earthly fiend formation. If it weren't for surpassing Yang Chen in purity, and after saying that the attack effect of spiritual power could not be added, Li Cheng would be embarrassed. Even so, the attack from Yang Chen was very uncomfortable and Li Cheng always suffered from every blow. But the more so, the happier Li Cheng was, the same was true for Yang Chen. A well-matched opponent was definitely the best whetstone in their cultivation. The more tempered, the more beneficial it would be for their own cultivation. It was just a few days of confrontation. Yang Chen felt that his yellow turban warrior's body refining technique had already reached a step in the internal tempering of the river turning strength. If he went through it a few more times, he could just rely on this kind of confrontation and enter the realm of the peak sea pouring strength. Every blow of Li Cheng was like the best hammer. He punches out the impurities in his body and makes his whole body more symmetrical. Such an opponent, such an opportunity, was simply a gift from heaven. He didn't know if Li Cheng felt the same way, but Yang Chen could feel Li Cheng's changes from Li Cheng's back shock. It seemed he thought the same way in his heart. In this situation, although the two became more tired as they fought, they were happier in their hearts as they fought. Under the excitement, the strength of the two people seemed to have improved again, and they continued to confront each other. It seemed that no one wanted to stop first. The physical, spirit power and the full confrontation of the spiritual awareness continued for almost half a month. The strength of the two finally became smaller and smaller, and their speed became slower and slower. In the end, it simply became a confrontation of will. It depends on who will fall off first. Finally, Yang Chen and Li Cheng had no more energy. After hitting each other once with soft hands, they both lay on the ground exhausted, never wanting to move half of their fingers. Their spirit power has been exhausted and their spiritual awareness has almost been exhausted. The physical body does not even have the strength to support the two of them standing. As soon as they lay down, they closed their eyes and there was no more movement. However, the two were still different. Under this situation, Li Cheng still had difficulty slowly absorbing spirit power and began to recover from the fight, while Yang Chen closed his eyes and fell asleep sweetly. Originally, the purpose of this confrontation was to make Yang Chen tired and then fall asleep. Everyone understood this. Anyway, this was inside the mountain river geographical map and there were the four women watching, so there was no need to worry about safety. The four women have been immersed in the wonderful fighting confrontation between the two until both of them have stopped for a long time and then they woke up one after another. It was Zhanxian who woke up first, then Gao Yu, then Gongsun and finally Sun Qingxu. All of the four women have gained a lot from this observation and their faces were filled with joy that can't be concealed. Seeing the situation of the two, Gongsun heart moved and the place where Li Cheng and Yang Chen lay suddenly changed. Li Cheng quickly condensed a small spirit gathering formation, the mountain river geographical map, absorbed countless spiritual power and began to provide for Li Cheng to recover. On the other side of Yang Chen, it became a comfortable bedroom. Yang Chen lay on the soft and comfortable wooden couch, sleeping like a dead pig. The four girls woke up without any extra actions, but after watching Gongsun finish the operation, everyone started discussing with each other in another place where they did not interfere with them. The content of the discussion was naturally the gains and benefits of the battle between Yang Chen and Li Cheng. This was a habit that everyone has cultivated on the way to the demon continent. After dealing with the sea beasts, they would make a small summary. The four women were all geniuses with excellent comprehension. The combined wisdom of the four people could make everyone gain something every time. The battle between their own husband and brother allowed the four women to see many things they had never thought of before. The four women expressed their feelings one after another and none of them hid themselves. The more they discussed, the more excited everyone was. Just discussing the summary of the battle lasted almost 4 or 5 days. Then, the four women also began to retreat one after the other, continuing to digest these combat experiences. Li Cheng resumed his cultivation this time and it lasted a long time. In fact, Li Cheng was not only recovering, but his time for spirit power recovery was very fast. With the spirit power support of the mountain river geographical map, Li Cheng's spirit power was restored in 2 days. As soon as the spirit power was restored, it naturally led to the recovery of his spiritual awareness and the physical body. But these were not important, the important thing was that Li Cheng discovered that his physical cultivation had finally entered the territory. Under the bombardment by Yang Chen tens of thousands of times, it was like kneading dough, naturally. Now it was a natural process. Li Cheng would of course seize this opportunity to improve his cultivation level as soon as possible. Of course, Li Cheng did not forget that while cultivating, he cited Yang Chen's abnormality. Yang Chen, who was asleep, didn't know Li Cheng's thoughts at all, and even Gongsun had changed the surrounding situation for him without him noticing it. Now his consciousness was standing at the entrance of the Immortal Executioner Stage. When Yang Chen came here, his body did not change in the slightest. He really doesn't know how this Immortal Executioner Stage was refined, not to mention crossing the two realms and even using a dream to let the Mortal Executioner enter. As expected by Yang Chen, as long as he entered the dream, Yang Chen would stand at the entrance. It turned out that there were still a few heavenly guards here, but now he didn't know where they went. The entrance was empty, without a single figure. Seeing the door he walked out of, Yang Chen couldn't help feeling a little sorrowful. Here, he personally waved the immortal beheading blade and cut away immortals including the Jade Emperor's Empress and the Grand Supreme Elderly Lord. Those famous big figures could not escape the death of the Immortal Executioner, which always made people feel the awe of heaven. However, Yang Chen had no plans to go in. Who knows if he could come out after he enters. Now that everything was on the right track, Yang Chen doesn't want to fall short here. After adding Yang Chen's comprehension and modification, the cultivation method of the Heat Demon sect has already possessed extremely strong operability. Yang Chen was just outside the entrance and he could also try whether the cultivation method was feasible in the end. Yang Chen didn't know how long he would sleep this time, so he just sighed for a while and began to follow the steps to try to refine the entrance to the Immortal Executioner Stage. Once he got started, Yang Chen was ecstatic. Following the normal steps, it seemed that there was no accident. Perhaps, it was also because Yang Chen was the only executioner in the Immortal Executioner Stage, so it had no resistance to Yang Chen. It made Yang Chen easily touch the point that crosses the two realms. The entrance was at this point. After completing this step, Yang Chen's confidence greatly increased and he began to carefully refine the entrance according to the guidance of that cultivation method. Before refining, Yang Chen still found that his spirit power was consumed cleanly. This should be caused by the previous confrontation, even in a dream, it was not completely restored. Yang Chen didn't worry, just like Li Cheng, he first began to restore his spirit power and then began to refine the entrance. It's simple to say, but it's not so easy to do. Don't even think that the entrance to the Immortal Executioner Stage was just a point across the two realms, but it was not something that could be accomplished overnight if he really wanted to refine it. It's normal to think about it. Yang Chen must be able to enter the immortal world in the normal way. The mortal world was connected to the immortal world, in fact, at least it crosses the three realms. If it could be easily refined by a cultivator in the Yuning stage, that would be a joke. Fortunately, Yang Chen was not a simple Yuning stage cultivator. With the passage of time, his spiritual awareness has been completely restored and the progress of refining has accelerated a little. To fully refine this entrance, at least 4 complicated processes were required. Yang Chen was now taking the first and easiest step, which was to fix this base point so that he could contact it anytime and anywhere. The speculative technique was still a bit unrealistic and Yang Chen only discovered it after he got it. Of course, this was also because Yang Chen doesn't understand it, so there was such a problem. Fortunately, the process of the first step was not too complicated and dangerous. Yang Chen was able to adjust carefully during the refining process so that no accidents would occur. This process alone took Yang Chen half a year and when Yang Chen finally finished repairing the stumbling block, 10 months had passed outside. Brushing, Yang Chen sat up and finally woke up from his sleep. When he opened his eyes, he saw Gongsun Ling's smiling face. In the mountain river geographical map, Gongsun Ling would know any movement of Yang Chen. As soon as he sat up, he alarmed Gongsun Ling and she appeared in front of Yang Chen quickly. "You're awake." Gongsun Ling was purely happy with an uncontrollable smile on her face. Although she doesn't know why Yang Chen has to sleep, she supports any decision made by Yang Chen. It's just that Yang Chen slept for 10 months and it couldn't help but worry the girls. Had Li Cheng not repeatedly said that Yang Chen was fine, Gongsun Ling would have been tempted to wake Yang Chen. Soon, Gao Yu, Shai Shanshan, and Sun Qingxu also appeared in front of Yang Chen one after another, as did Li Cheng. Seeing Yang Chen, he gave Yang Chen a punch first. "You really hide yourself very well." Li Cheng teased Yang Chen and said with a smile on his face, "I almost made a fool of myself." "Brother, let's not tease each other." Yang Chen responded with a smile, his face also filled with uncontrollable happiness. After completing the first step of refining, Yang Chen will no longer have to enter the dream to reach the entrance of the Immortal Executioner Stage. As long as he wants to, he could enter the Immortal Executioner Stage anytime, anywhere. Of course, Yang Chen has no plans to go in yet. What made him happy was that in the battle with Li Cheng, he learned a lot of spiritual awareness applications, as well as the benefits of the pure and condensed spiritual awareness and spirit power for himself, which couldn't be understood from anywhere. Everyone knows that the more refined spiritual awareness and spirit power were, the better, but how much better it could be, even in Yang Chen's previous life, there was no specific concept. Even if Yang Chen had reached the realm of Great Golden Immortal in his previous life, he had never condensed his spiritual awareness and spirit power to the realm of Li Cheng, at best, he was better than his current self. It was only after seeing Li Cheng's purity that Yang Chen truly understood what kind of terrifying power it was, and it also gave Yang Chen a more specific aspect of the direction of his future cultivation. "Those guys outside, what's the situation now?" After everyone's greetings, Yang Chen couldn't help but ask about the treasure hunters. If you're enjoying the content, please give it a like, comment, and subscribe to Fantasy World for more. Chapter 536. Afterthought. Some people are still looking for precious materials, and some people are already fighting. Gongsun Ling, who has the Mountain River geographical map in her hand, was the best person to inquire about the news and immediately replied. This was normal, those old guys didn't work together. After opening the door, it meant that everyone had to fight on their own. Few people pay attention to the people on the entrance portal. Some people didn't find it at all, and some people found it and felt that it was not worth working on them. The few little guys who have to rely on the formation to cover, plan to fish in troubled waters, what could they do if they stay at the door? The four women have made progress again, and even Sun Qingxu, who has the worst cultivation base, has entered the middle Yuning stage. Yang Chen originally thought that he and Li Cheng were the two with the lowest realm, but when he checked it carefully, he found that only himself was left in the early Yuning stage now. It was not known when Li Cheng quietly entered the middle Yuning stage. The self-cultivation of the body becomes more and more unpredictable. Only you have the lowest cultivation base. Li Cheng seemed to see through Yang Chen's thoughts and said with a teasing smile, "If you don't step up, you will have to lose face in front of us." This was just a joke, but Yang Chen also had to pay attention to this problem. It's not that he wants a face, it's that because he refines and cuts the entrance of the Immortal Executioner Stage, and all his physical and spiritual cultivation have fallen a lot. In the dream, he couldn't sense the specific conditions of his body. Yang Chen realized in reality that his body had reached a bottleneck and he was in a state of urgent need to break through. Among other things, the Yellow Turban Warrior body refining technique suffered many heavy blows during the battle with Li Cheng, his skin and flesh were much stronger than before. Even the internal organs, which had been weak, were under tens of thousands of internal organ shocks. Unconsciously tempered by physical cultivation, entered into a situation to break through. If he didn't seize this opportunity, Yang Chen would be a great fool. After he hurriedly greeted Li Cheng and the four girls, Yang Chen quickly entered a state of retreat. The main purpose of the retreat this time was the Yellow Turban Warrior's body refining technique. With the tempering of fighting Li Cheng, it was even more effective than Yang Chen's boring cultivation of body training for decades. In a rush, in less than half a year, the Yellow Turban Warrior body refining technique rushed to the peak river turning strength. The flesh, bones and internal organs of his whole body have undergone a reborn change, which was at least twice as powerful as the original middle section. No matter from the strength or from the physical endurance, as well as the density of the bones, there was at least twice the increase. This state of pure physical power was no longer imaginable by ordinary people. Even the real Yellow Turban warriors in the immortal world can't reach them. This physical strength was beyond many ordinary magic weapons. Even ordinary flying swords can't harm him all, even the skin cannot be pierced. Even if Yang Chen didn't use the Dragon Clan Golden Bell and he was just trying to reach the peak river turning strength. It was also enough to withstand at least the powerful attacks of the late Dacheng stage. As he reached the advanced level of physical cultivation, Yang Chen's body seemed to be more fortunate. It turned out that the Simple Power Conference had some influence on speed. After entering the peak river turning strength, the reaction speed of the muscles has almost doubled. He believes that if he fights against Li Cheng would definitely feel that kind of terrifying attack speed. This benefit alone made Yang Chen smile from ear to ear. If those yellow-turbaned warriors in the immortal world wanted to cultivate from the high section of the river, turning strength to the peak without hundreds of years of hard work, it was absolutely impossible. The immortal body was as powerful as the immortal body, but in terms of transformation, the difficulty was turned upside down. The improvement of the Yellow Turban Warrior's body refining technique has directly affected his spirit power cultivation. The physical changes would be very intuitively reflected in spirit power cultivation. Yang Chen's stagnant state in the early Yuning stage finally loosened. With Yang Chen's single-handed efforts, he finally broke through the bottleneck and entered the next stage. At the moment of breaking through to the middle Yuning stage, Yang Chen suddenly realized something again. Li Cheng's pure and powerful spirit power and spiritual awareness would be the direction for Yang Chen's next cultivation. In the past, he was only considering the improvement of his cultivation base, although he was also refining his spirit power and spiritual awareness, it was not the main direction. From Li Cheng's body, Yang Chen saw the huge benefits after purification and condensing, and it was not too late to make timely adjustments. You know, as the cultivation base gets higher and higher, if you want to refine your spirit power and spiritual awareness, you will spend at least 10 times or even dozens of times more energy than when the cultivation base was lower, the better it would be and the less time it would take. This point was the same as the cultivation of the Yellow Turban Warrior's body refining technique. The more he has gone through, the stronger the body, the more difficult it would be to change in the future. Spirit power and spiritual awareness were also the same, so it's best to take advantage of now to realize the remedy. Yang Chen originally planned to use the true essence spirit power cultivation method in his hand when he was hitting the bottleneck, but now it seems that it was unnecessary. During the battle with Li Cheng, Yang Chen also discovered that although his spirit power attack was strong, there were several types of spirit power that were not the true essence spirit power and could not compete with Li Cheng's spirit power. It was the non-essence spirit powers that collapsed first when resisting. Now that he realized this, Yang Chen didn't keep it anymore. Once the retreat was over, Yang Chen called the 4 women in front of him. The 4 girls have all cultivated a kind of true essence spirit power, which was in line with their own attributes. Gao Yu cultivated the 10th water true secret art, Zhanxian was the 7th metal true secret art, Sun Qingxu was the 1st wood true secret art, and Gongsun was the 5th earth true secret art. In Yang Chen's hands, he now had all the other techniques except the 3rd fire true secret art and his true essence spiritual solutions were still missing the 2nd wood true essence. Speaking of it, except for Sun Qingxu's 2nd wood true essence, the other 3 women already have the conditions to cultivate the 2nd true essence spirit power. Bao Yu got the 9th water true secret art and 9th water true essence spiritual solution first, and Zhanxian got the 8th metal true secret art and 8th metal spiritual solution. But Gongsun and Sun Qingxu didn't have the 2nd wood true essence and 6th earth true essence. Relatively speaking, the 6th earth true secret art was not a big problem, as Yang Chen had cultivated it. If he and Gongsun entered through double cultivation, it was enough for Gongsun to cultivate it. The last time, the 5th earth true secret art was cultivated in this way. The only one who was somewhat lost was the youngest Sun Qingxu. She was the one with the lowest cultivation base now, and she was unable to cultivate the 2nd wood true secret art because of the lack of 2nd wood true essence. Everyone had them, but she didn't and she seemed a little depressed. Little Shu, it's not that your husband is partial, but that I really didn't find it. Yang Chen could only comfort Sun Qingxu by himself. There was no other way, whether it was the memory of the past life or in the Immortal Executioner Stage, there was no news of the 2nd wood true essence. It's okay, husband. Sun Qingxu was not that kind of petty person, otherwise she would not be accepted by Zhanxian. As a cultivator, she naturally knows that some things cannot be compelled, so she just lost it for a while before she recovered. Speaking of which, Yang Chen was also in a bad mood. He had always treated the 4 women in a relatively balanced manner, but this would make Sun Qingxu regret because he did not find the 2nd wood true essence. I have already cultivated the 1st wood true secret art and I can't be so greedy. Sun Qingxu leaned in Yang Chen's arms and comforted Yang Chen in turn. She could also see that Yang Chen seemed to be a little bit worried because he could not find the 2nd wood true secret art husband, don't care about it. Sun Qingxu could think about it. If it weren't for Yang Chen, she could only rely on that great calamity of demonic art to abolish her cultivation base and cultivate again. It could only be those wood attribute techniques of the Blue Cloud sect, it was absolutely impossible to come into contact with the 1st wood true secret art. Sun Qingxu already felt very satisfied with the 1st wood true secret art now. Don't worry, I will definitely find the 2nd wood true essence. Yang Chen held Sun Qingxu's arms tightly and gave her a promise even if I don't think about you, I still need it to complete my Great Yin Yang 5 element secret art. Great Yin Yang 5 element secret art, what is that? Sun Qingxu was aroused by curiosity and asked involuntarily. Not only Sun Qingxu, but Gao Yu, Zhanxian and Gongsun were equally curious. Several pairs of wonderful eyes came over at the same time, waiting for Yang Chen to explain. Li Cheng was not far away, of course he heard Yang Chen's words. He suddenly realized something, and he looked at Yang Chen with an incredible look. You want to complete the true essence spirit power cultivation, right? Li Cheng's words made all the women want to understand the meaning of this great yin yang, 5 element secret art. They couldn't help being surprised, all looked at Yang Chen in shock. Everyone knows that Yang Chen built his foundation with all attribute spirit power, and everyone understands that all attribute spiritual power condenses his golden core. However, the girls only thought that Yang Chen had cultivated 5 kinds of spirit power, although they had both cultivated 1 attribute spiritual power with Yang Chen during the double cultivation. But the women only thought that the attributes of the 5 elements were all, but they didn't expect it. It turned out to be full of yin-yang 5 elements. Concurrent cultivation of the 5 elements of yin-yang. Those are 2 completely different concepts, and similarly, there are 2 completely different levels of difficulty. This doesn't even need any explanation. While cultivating the 5 spirit powers at the same time keeps the beginning and the 10 spiritual powers, the difference could be imagined in terms of quantity alone. Double the number, at least 10 times the difficulty. They thought that Yang Chen turned out to be cultivating both yin and yang and the 5 elements, and his spirit power cultivation base was still similar to everyone's. Just a little behind, the girls couldn't help but have an urge to hit the wall. Except for Gao Yu. Zhanxian, Sun Qingxu and Gongsunling were all recognized geniuses of cultivation by their respective sects, but they are also only majoring in a kind of spirit power of the 5 elements. In this situation, they were only a little bit ahead of Yang Chen, especially Zhanxian. When she met Yang Chen, he had already begun to condense his golden core, at least 100 years of cultivation base, but now, not only was Gongsunling overtaken, but also Yang Chen was overtaken. Fortunately for Gongsunling, the characteristics of the mountain river geographical map were equivalent to countless masters helping Gongsunling in her cultivation. Zhanxian still doesn't feel discouraged by being overtaken by Gongsunling. But Yang Chen cultivated 100 years less than her and still cultivated 10 spirit powers at the same time. At this speed, if Zhanxian was a genius who has been rare in 1,000 years, then what was Yang Chen? A devil. In the past, when Zhanxian was alone through Yang Chen to decline those young handsome men, it wasn't known how many people were persuading Zhanxian not to be dragged down by a mediocre person like Yang Chen. Thinking about it now, how funny those people are. If Yang Chen was considered mediocre, then what are those people? Pigs. Fortunately, now Yang Chen was Zhanxian's husband, and before that, Yang Chen has used an absolute way to subdue Zhanxian. Zhanxian does not have much dissatisfaction, just thinking of this fact made her feel satisfied. I have this plan. Yang Chen answered Li Cheng's question with affirmative words and also frankly said to Li Cheng for the time being, there is still a lack of third fire, true secret art and second wood true essence. If you can find these two, basically, you can complete the yin-yang 5-element secret art. In response, Li Cheng directly extended his right hand and then raised a big thumb. After holding it in front of Yang Chen for a while, he said to Yang Chen very contemptuously pig brain. Yang Chen hadn't reacted yet, but the 4 women had already raised their eyebrows. Although they were talking about their husband's eldest brother, it did not prevent them from looking at Li Cheng coldly. Their husband was so amazing, and he was even said to be a pig's brain. What does it mean? Does the elder brother think that the true essence and spirit power can't be simultaneously cultivated? Yang Chen admired Li Cheng's cultivation level very much, and he didn't know what method he used to refine his spiritual power to that point. Since Li Cheng said so, there must be a reason. Yang Chen decisively ignored Li Cheng's words of scolding himself and humbly asked for advice. Can the true essence and spirit power be simultaneously cultivated? This is not a problem. Unexpectedly, Li Cheng didn't say much about this issue. Since you have cultivated it, there is no trouble, there will be no problem. Then what did Big Brother mean? Yang Chen didn't understand. Li Cheng scolded himself as a pig brain. What does this mean? You don't use your pig's brain because you have already collected so much true essence spiritual power. Li Cheng again sternly scolded. Look around you carefully and use your pig's brain to think about it. In such a big place, why does the earth's vein spirit power dry up? As soon as Li Cheng said this question, Yang Chen seemed to have caught something in time. Without saying anything, he flew up and began to observe carefully in the air. After the 4 women were unwilling, they all rushed to Yang Chen's side in the air to observe. Almost all the places sealed by the Heart Demon sect were surrounded by various plants. Before, everyone focused on the treasures of the Heart Demon sect but ignored these ordinary plants. Now everyone has discovered that among these plants, there were very few big trees to which the first wood belonged. Almost all of them were vines and herbs of second wood. Since the formation method of sealing the Heart Demon sect has not failed, it means that the spiritual power of the earth veins was enough to use. How can the spiritual veins in it be exhausted? Could it be that this invisible underground has a large array similar to collecting various spiritual liquids, used to collect the second wood spiritual solution? If you're enjoying the content, please give it a like, comment, and subscribe to Fantasy World for more. Chapter 537. Search. This huge area has all the conditions for the generation of the second wood true essence. The area was large enough, second wood belonged to enough, and it was full of spirit power. Speaking of abundance of spirit power, although those depleted spiritual veins seem a bit abnormal, but on the other hand, why not concentrate spirit power on the second wood true essence? Whether it was the first wood true essence or the second wood true essence, those monsters that have become spirits and have opened their minds will not produce them. Only the natural growth of first wood and second wood will form such a trace in a long time. If you want to collect, you must use a certain collection formation. This area, because of being sealed, was not attacked by demonic eye, nor did the second wood monster beast itself, which fully met the conditions. The more Yang Chen observes, the more inclined to this point in his mind he was. However, the tendency was still not certain, but if you add Li Cheng, he was basically 90% sure. If this was the case, then no matter what kind of cultivation method or magic weapons those guys have worked so hard to find, they are purely buying caskets and returning beads. The real treasure, one was the origin history of the heart demon sect that Yang Chen and the others have found, and the other was the hidden second wood true essence. As for the practice of refining the spatial point, it was only a speculative method. For the time being, it could only prove that the first half was useful, and the latter has yet to be confirmed by time. It was impossible to judge whether it was a big benefit. "Brother, please give me some advice." After Yang Chen was reborn, he had a characteristic of being humble and would never fail to pretend to understand. So when he couldn't judge the specific position, Yang Chen never hesitated to ask someone who understands. The four women had not yet figured out what Li Cheng was talking about. But they all followed Yang Chen down and surrounded Yang Chen and Li Cheng, waiting for Li Cheng's guidance. This area is very likely to hide a large formation collecting second wood true essence. Li Cheng also said straightforwardly without waiting. As soon as these words were spoken, the women suddenly exclaimed. Especially Sun Qingxu, she was surprised and didn't know what to do. Now everyone understands why Yang Chen was scolded by Li Cheng as a pig's brain when he was comforting Sun Qingxu. If it were not for Li Cheng's sensitivity, maybe everyone would easily let go of this most cherished benefit. But it's not too late. All the women were not in the urgency to cultivate, all of them were waiting eagerly for Li Cheng, waiting for him to point out the possible collection of formations. According to Yang Chen's judgment, if this formation was to exist, it must be underground, as the situation on the ground was almost clear at a glance, and there was no trace of the formation at all. The spirit power was exhausted, it was definitely not like the second wood true essence. But the underground was so big, and there was no trace of spiritual power escaping. How to find this possible second wood true essence? Li Cheng couldn't help it, he just judged that the second wood true essence might exist based on the situation here, but he didn't know exactly where it was. The four women were a little discouraged when they heard what Li Cheng and Yang Chen said. Was there anything more depressing than knowing that there was a treasure, but not being able to find it? "We are not in a hurry, we will look for it slowly." Yang Chen didn't have that kind of impatience. One person counts the shortcomings, and the others counts the lengths. They can't find them, don't they still have a lot of helpers? So many masters, digging 3 feet in the ground, are you afraid you can't find it? Yang Chen hurriedly pointed in several directions, and all the women understood. Don't those masters who enter the heart demon sect just want to find magic weapons? However, could those things still be comparable to the second wood true essence? This exhausted many spiritual veins. After being sealed for tens of thousands of years, how much of the true essence spiritual power should be accumulated? Yang Chen couldn't imagine it, those guys wouldn't be tempted when they knew it. Spreading news was very easy, as long as a few people put on a unique search look. First, find a random direction to explore, let the old demon know that they are looking around in some places where there was no relic of the heart demon sect. It would soon be able to attract the attention of those old monsters. "What are you looking for?" Just as everyone pretended to be immersed in searching, a very gentle and attractive voice came in. This person's voice was very comfortable. There was a sense of trust involuntarily, as if the natural tone of homely tone, it was easy to be unguarded. "Second wood true essence." Yang Chen almost blurted out, but immediately realized something and quickly covered his mouth. Li Cheng and the girls quickly gathered together and then put on a guarded posture. "Is the second wood true essence here?" As the gentle voice uttered again, at least 10 old demon heads appeared around, distributed in various directions, surrounding everyone. Sun Qingxu immediately activated the tortoise shield to protect everyone in it. The two sides once again formed a confrontation. Needless to say, as long as they said that they were looking for the second wood true essence, these old demons were all knowledgeable people, and it was easy to reason from the many traces shown in this sealed land. Before, everyone just didn't think in this direction, now Yang Chen and the others immediately made them feel that it made sense. Those who really found the magic weapons and cultivation method were the dozen or so most advanced old demon heads, and most of the others were picking up rags. Although many materials or magic weapons that have been passed down to this day have been found, none of them has much to do with controlling the inner demons. These old guys have been staying here all the time, on the one hand to try their luck, to see if there are any fish slipping through the net, on the other hand, they are also planning to look for some opportunities to seize from others. Besides, there was no demonic eye attack here, and everyone uses this place to cultivate without any interference and consolidate their own cultivation. Now they suddenly discovered that there was probably the existence of the true essence spiritual power like the second wood true essence. Suddenly the old guys no longer intend to cultivate and they started to look for it. Even Yang Chen and the others were ignored. No one was a fool, especially these treacherous and ghost-like old demons who don't know how many years they have lived. This place was sealed for tens of thousands of years, who knows how many second wood true essence was left behind. But one thing for sure was that even if you give them a lot of little guys, they won't lose their weight. At the beginning, more than a dozen old monsters knew about it, but within a few days, more and more old monsters knew about it, and finally all the old guys knew that the second wood true essence might be hidden here, so a large group of the old demon began the process of vigorously digging the ground to find the second wood true essence. Yang Chen and the others in this army were actually inconspicuous at all. Who doesn't covet the true essence spirit power? Even if it wasn't a cultivator with wood attributes, he couldn't hold back the preciousness of this second wood true essence. Among other things, even if it was used to exchange spirit stones, one drop of second wood true essence was enough to exchange for tens of kilograms of high-grade spirit stones. How many drops would be accumulated in these tens of thousands of years? The wealth was touching, especially these old monsters who are already very greedy. Who was not tempted by the news of the second wood true essence? Even the old guys who had already obtained magic weapons and cultivation methods temporarily stopped thinking and looked for the second wood true essence instead. The cultivation method could be cultivated at any time, but second wood true essence doesn't have this shop after he has passed this village. Said that he didn't care about the interference of Yang Chen and the little guys, but in fact, he still couldn't help but put on the tortoise shield. But for this true essence, none of these old monsters were willing to share with others. Some guys who found certain records of the Heart Demon sect began to search through the records carefully to see if there was any explanation about the second wood true essence, and more people were beginning to infer where the second wood true essence should be. It can't help but be said that these old guys have a high enough cultivation base and wide enough knowledge. Soon after, several old demons, based on the topography of the mountains and rivers, plus the distribution of plants, roughly calculated where they would be if they were to collect the second wood true essence by themselves. This was the first to determine the old demon in a few locations. There were 4 monster race cultivators with wood attributes and 7 Dao and demonic cultivators with wood attributes. They are wood attributes themselves, and they have a deeper understanding of second wood true essence than others, so they could judge the possible locations first. Purposeful inquiry was completely different from the luck of a blind man riding a blind horse. They don't know that there are precious things underground. It turns out that those 7th metal spiritual solution have existed underground in the Heart Demon sect mining area for many years, and no one cares about them. Now that they know there was the second wood true essence, it was 10,000 times easier to find it. The old devils were guarding each other, and no one wants to let others know what they have found. However, no one thought that Yang Chen's spiritual awareness was watching their every move. The sealed Heart Demon sect was too big, tens of thousands of miles, thousands of old demon were scattered, like a drop of water into the sea, and immediately disappeared without a trace. However, Yang Chen had a definite target. He didn't look for anyone else, but specifically for the monster masters with wood attributes. Sure enough, this small group of old monsters quickly discovered something. The places where these 11 old demons found were scattered in a valley with a radius of tens of miles. From this point of view, it could basically be concluded that the second wood true essence was distributed here. It's just that the specific location was slightly different. For Yang Chen and others, these dozen old demons were simply their pioneers. Hidden within the inverted siege Asper lamp, Yang Chen and the others quietly hid in a hidden corner hundreds of miles away, carefully observing the movements of the dozen old demons, and no one would notice. Since everyone was concentrated in this valley, there seemed to be a tacit understanding of the dozens of old monsters, and none of them made a public statement. They simply discussed with each other and found a location to search in detail. Everyone understands that this second wood true essence couldn't be hidden by them. In such a small area, no matter who finds anything, it would alarm others. Unless these guys have such a magic weapon like the sea jade lamp, it was impossible to hide it from others. However, the benefits were limited to these 11. The other old devils were hitting great fortunes without thinking. If the second wood true essence could be found in that way, then it would be too simple to imagine. The old devils thought they had a good plan, but they didn't expect that they aren't the only smart people. It was easier for people who know the attributes of wood to find the second wood true essence. Besides Yang Chen and the others, there are others who were eyeing them. Hovering the figure and shielding the spiritual awareness was not something that only the siege Asper lamp could achieve. At least Yang Chen has a lot of fibers found from the demonized demon vine, which could also be used. And similar methods, among those thousands of old demon, at least hundreds of people have completely different methods. At about the same time, in 4 directions, 4 openings were opened with violence. Among these 4 openings, all of them have the aura of the second wood true essence. When the second wood true essence appeared, as if the fuse was suddenly ignited, and then the whole situation exploded. The four old monsters who opened the paths before they had time to explore further, they were besieged by guys hiding in the dark, swarming from all directions. The guys who have been in the demon continent for hundreds of years, which one was a fuel-efficient lamp. Even those would attribute old devils who were looking for the second wood true essence were always on guard. When someone attacked, they immediately counterattacked without even thinking about it. In the valley of tens of miles, hundreds of daching stage masters made a move at the same time, and the aftermath of the spirit power directly razed the valley to the ground. The huge momentum caused all the masters who were distributed in a radius of tens of thousands of miles to be alarmed, and they rushed in this direction without exception. What else could cause such a dynamic fight at this time? Apart from the discovery of the second wood true essence, there was no other explanation. The tacit understanding between the old demons who guarded the ruins for hundreds of years was broken with the discovery of the second wood true essence. The entire valley has become the arena where the old devils fight to the death, and no one could stay out of it. With the participation of old demons in all directions around, the scale of the battle has further expanded. Everyone except himself was an enemy, and everyone was trying to suppress the bottom of the box, and regardless of his disregard, he launched a killer move against everyone except himself. During the melee, no one could notice that there were several old devils with serious injuries. After being blown away, they disappeared into the void strangely, as if they had never appeared before. In the eyes of everyone, only the second wood true essence existed. With hundreds of daching stage masters fighting, the entire valley was turned upside down. A dozen miles away, the four openings that were originally open were now almost all connected together. This shows what? It means that the amount of second wood true essence below was maddening. Having moved their hands, these old guys who had tolerated each other for hundreds of years had no plans to suppress themselves anymore. Even if so much second wood true essence was enough for them to divide equally, each will become the richest among the rich, but how could the anger that has been provoked be easily suppressed? Of course, what's more important was that the wisps of demonic chi, before everyone knows it, have already permeated everyone around them, and it seems to affect everyone's emotions. If you're enjoying the content, please give it a like, comment, and subscribe to Fantasy World for more. Chapter 538. Collecting the True Essence Spiritual Solution. The masters of the daching stage were the masters of the daching stage. When Yang Chen was collecting various True Essence spiritual solutions, the cultivators who met, as long as their spiritual awareness penetrated into the True Essence spiritual solutions, they would all be dragged into the source spiritual solution and burst into death. However, there were exceptions. Under normal circumstances, daching stage masters will not have this situation. At that time, the big city lord of the Banyan Tree Immortal Cave, the second city lord, could easily reach the first wood spiritual solution and was safe, but they had no good way to collect the first wood spiritual solution. Now this group of daching stage elders were the same, fighting over the True Essence spiritual solution, but they were not affected by the second wood true essence in the slightest. However, those guys who were injured and accidentally fell into the spiritual solution were not so lucky. They were already injured. Once attacked by the second wood true essence, they couldn't control their body for a while. Although they didn't explode like the Yuning stage masters, they could only leave the power to protect themselves, but could no longer act. The aftermath of the above attack directly swept through these poor guys mercilessly. They were unable to move and were deeply penetrated into the second wood spiritual solution and never appeared again. The old devils have endured for hundreds of years, everyone has carefully guarded against each other for such a long time. Now that they have been provoked by the beginning of the struggle and have been conspired by the invisible demonic chi, no one could suppress this emotion to vent, and the fighting went on. Within a few days, the old demons of almost the entire sealed land rushed over. As soon as everyone came in, they joined the battle group like crazy, and no one wanted to give away the exposed second wood true. As long as there was such a little thought, under the magnification of the demonic chi, it becomes the effect of melee. This was the first time everyone in the mortal world has seen such a battle scene of thousands of daching stage masters. The scene was magnificent and the effect was amazing. Their flying sword seems to be getting better and better. Of course Li Cheng understood who was behind the scenes, watching Yang Chen release the 9 nether flying sword little by little to affect the old demons, he couldn't help sighing. One of the benefits of going to that valley. Yang Chen did not hide it from Li Cheng. After fighting Li Cheng for a while, the relationship between the two seemed to be closer. Filling the demonized demon vine, the 9 nether flying sword was indeed one of the benefits, and the other advantage was that the yellow turban warrior's body refining technique has risen from the middle stage to the late stage, and he has obtained a huge demon orb. The re-refined 9 nether flying sword, because of the addition of those mysterious fibers, has the effect of shielding the 6 senses. That's why he showed great power on this occasion, but no old demon could find the clue. Ong Sen Ling was happily picking up bargains on the periphery. As long as there was a single injured master, Yang Chen and Li Cheng would always secretly put him in a coma, and then Gongsun Ling happily left these poor guys leave their storage bag behind and received them in the Mountain River geographical map. In just 3 or 2 days, there were more than 20 Dacheng stage-old demons in Gongsun Ling's Mountain River geographical map, and they were still unconscious of the situation. Seeing those who were beaten into the second wood truce and sink into the spiritual solution, and Yang Chen had experienced collecting the first wood spiritual solution together, of course, she knew the fate of those people, which was a pity. If these dead guys could be received into the Mountain River geographical map, wasn't it more exciting? Gongsun Ling's thought was naturally seen by Yang Chen. Of course, the Mountain River geographical map has as many masters as possible. However, the current Mountain River geographical map still lacks a very necessary function, that was to refine and condense spirit power. After the battle with Li Cheng, Yang Chen thoroughly understood how powerful his pure spirit power and spiritual awareness were. Gongsun Ling's current cultivation base was the highest, but it was because the masters in the Mountain River geographical map have continuously provided her with spirit power. If Gongsun Ling was a dragon, even a dragon like Xiao Yan, Yang Chen didn't have to worry. But now, Yang Chen must worry about Gongsun Ling. Having absorbed so many different spirit powers, of course the spirit power cultivation base will be very high, but after ascending, if she want to purify these spirit powers, it would take a lot of effort. The best way was to re-refine the Mountain River geographical map to increase the function of purifying spirit power. At the same time, Gongsun Ling should also refine and condense her current spiritual power as much as possible, this was the right way. Those masters outside were beating their lives and beating to death, so he took this time to ask Li Cheng for advice. Big brother, Aling's spirit power is a bit mixed, is there any way to make those spiritual powers more refined in the Mountain River geographical map? With Li Cheng, a great master with pure spiritual power by his side, how could Yang Chen let it go? Naturally, he put on a posture of humbly asking for advice and asked Li Cheng for advice. You don't have to ask, I'll talk about it afterwards. Li Cheng had been preparing for a while, and Yang Chen was answered immediately when he asked him. When it was related to herself, Gongsun Ling also turned her head and listened carefully. Aling, your current spiritual power is a bit confusing and impure. Although your cultivation base is high, your real combat power is not as good as Zhanxian. Yang Chen was not afraid that Gongsun Ling would be sad and directly said the problem of course, I'm to blame for this, I didn't tell you how to cultivate the Mountain River geographical map well. Gongsun Ling was in the demon continent these days, and there was a geographical map of mountains and rivers nearby, which could almost be said to be unprofitable. But in front of his husband and his husband's elder brother, she was very submissive. Especially when Yang Chen said that her spiritual power was impure, even Li Cheng nodded in agreement, there must be some problems. In your situation, it's like eating the demon orb. It will take a lot of energy to adjust in the future. Li Cheng said from the side the gain is not worth the loss, it is better to eradicate the troubles from now on. Big brother, please give me some advice. Gongsun Ling also called big brother Li Cheng after Yang Chen. Li Cheng said so, obviously to help, Gongsun Ling hurriedly gave salutes. There is 2 ways. Li Cheng was not polite and directly stretched out 2 fingers and said first, refining the Mountain River geographical map. The spiritual power that the Mountain River geographical map will provide you in the future will be the purified spiritual power. I have a refining method here, which is most suitable for your situation, but it will take at least 200 to 300 years. It will take 200 to 300 years to re-refine the Mountain River geographical map, it's worth it. Yang Chen directly answered next to him. Any of the methods in his memory would take hundreds to thousands of years, but now it only takes 200 years, it's really worth it. Second, from now on, you, including everyone, must condense and purify your spiritual power. Li Cheng was not at all polite, included everyone and I can add a heavenly spirit earthly fiend formation your family, combining your husband yin-yang 5-element secret art, it relies on pure spiritual power. The slightest hidden selfishness on this, it was simply selfless guidance. However, how to condense and purify spiritual power, he did not continue to say. Each sect has a similar method and each cultivation method has a different method. As long as you give directions, everyone will naturally be able to pay attention to their cultivation. If you do not seek for quickness, but for perfection, and your future achievements would definitely be different. Here Li Cheng had already handed over the refining method to Gongsun Ling and instructed her to start refining her own magic weapon. Because it has been tempered as her life source magic weapon, the Mountain River geographical map could be used at any time. With this refining method, Gongsun Ling could even use the masters in the Mountain River geographical map to complete this process. After temporarily solving Gongsun Ling's hidden dangers, everyone became happier, watching the masters outside fighting each other, still taking the action to collect one or two guys who were alone, waiting for the final result. After being immersed in the demonic eye of the demon continent for a long time, after experiencing the frenzied cannibalism at the beginning, some people finally realized that something was wrong and sensed the existence of the demonic eye. Those who have obtained the cultivation method and magic weapons were the first to wake up. After discovering that something was wrong, they were shocked. The separated ones woke up the guys who had fallen into the eruption of the heart demon. As a result, the battle group finally separated and all that could be awakened were awakened and the ones that could not be awakened were first hit hard and lost their ability to move. In the end, everyone was divided into several different groups. Counting the number of people, in this melee alone, hundreds of Zhanxian stage masters were lost and more than 100 trapped in the heart demon were heavily wounded and guarded. Among the remaining people, more than half were wounded and intact, that was, they were in their early 100s. Yang Chen had already retracted the 9 nether flying sword, the group of 6 people, under the double cover of the sea jade lamp and the mountain river geographical map, no one could find their tracks. They hide on the side, waiting to see what happens next. There are so many second wood essence, enough for everyone to share, why should it be cheaper for the guys who fish in troubled waters? The one who said this was one of the first dozen old monsters to come in. In fact, several groups were headed by these old monsters and everyone nodded and agreed. The previous madness to kill each other was simply unreasonable, they could endure it for hundreds of years, but they lost their defense at this time. The second wood true essence was not that easy to collect and all the people present were knowledgeable. All understand this truth, except for those wood monster race. It was estimated that other people can't directly collect the refined second wood spiritual solution at all. Finding the second wood true essence was just the beginning, they needed to find a way to collect it before they could succeed. Everyone retreat, each occupying a position, how about collecting according to our own skills? Someone immediately suggested that this muddled killing seemed to scare everyone. Each gathering according to their ability, no one could interfere, this was the best way. In each group, there were actually people who know how to collect the second wood true essence, but it has become a spiritual solution, which was a little more difficult. As long as you give everyone a chance to do something, you can always receive a lot. As the old demon said at the beginning, so much spiritual solution could always be collected. Several groups have equal numbers, after discussing with others, the leaders agreed to this approach. With so many second wood spiritual solution, why would they fight to death? How if they collected, even if they couldn't, they can grab it from the opponent, which was more beneficial than doing it like this. Those who were trapped in the heart demon and can't wake up were something that several groups have to fight for. After all, there are more than 100 people, no matter which group they join, they are powerful forces. But when everyone hit their ideas on those people, they were shocked to find that those seriously injured and unconscious guys disappeared without a trace. This discovery made the old monsters suddenly startled, these people disappeared under their noses. How could this be possible? What kind of cultivation base does it take to do it? Everyone raised their spiritual awareness and carefully watched the surroundings. They just let them investigate and they couldn't find anyone who did it. Everyone was shocked and frightened, guarding each other and distributed in several directions according to the previous agreement. Until some of them tried to collect the second wood true essence, nothing happened. This made them a little relieved and then several groups sent people to alert while sending people to collect them. After Yang Chen, the 6 people unconsciously received the 100 injured guys in the mountain river geographical map, they quietly hid them in the geographical map of the mountains and rivers on the edge where several forces hadn't noticed them. Entering the second wood true essence, they quickly drilled to the bottom. Yang Chen now knows a lot about the true essence spiritual solutions. In such a situation, it is not surprising that there will be second wood true essence crystals below. They would collect those first, and then it will not be too late to collect the second wood true essence spiritual solutions. They can't leave precious materials to these old monsters. The old demons supervised each other, but couldn't detect the movement in the second wood true essence spiritual solution. There was no way, there was a force of suction when the spiritual awareness penetrated it. Although they can contend, it was wishful thinking to know the movement in the spiritual solution. The mountain river geographical map protected everyone from diving to the bottom of second wood true essence spiritual solution. Sure enough, a large piece of second wood true essence crystal was found. Good things are welcome. Li Cheng made a move and directly salvaged all of them piece by piece, and then the two divided it, and the Yang Chen family and Li Cheng divided it equally. Next, it was to collect the second wood true essence spiritual solution, and neither Li Cheng nor Yang Chen was polite. Yang Chen held the gourd, Li Cheng held the bottle, and took the mountain river geographical map and collected them frantically. The level of the second wood true essence spiritual solution began to slowly drop. Of course, Yang Chen wouldn't just use such an opportunity to only collect the spiritual solution. The Blood Phantom Vine Flying Sword was originally the second wood flying sword, and it was precisely this opportunity that the second wood true essence spiritual solution could be used to refine it. In the same way, the body of the Medicine Garden Tool Spirit Abbey, the current Jasper Blood Phantom Vine, was also a powerful 5th grade, also infused with a large amount of second wood, true essence spiritual solution for Abbey to absorb. Abbey even started to flush the space barriers of the Medicine Garden of Greatest Heaven sect with this powerful second wood, true essence spiritual solution, trying to complete the final integration process. Outside the spiritual solution, the old demons suddenly found that the level of the second wood true essence spiritual solution was slowly falling, and they were all taken aback. It was thought that a certain or a few forces have a method to quickly collect the second wood true essence spiritual solution. Everyone has also accelerated the collection and at the same time secretly guessed which force has such a powerful collection method and what should they plan after receiving it. If you're enjoying the content, please give it a like, comment, and subscribe to Fantasy World for more. Chapter 539. Final Outcome. After all, it was the true essence spiritual solution. Even if Yang Chen and Li Cheng collected it at the same time, the impact on the lake's surface accumulated by the spiritual liquid in a radius of more than 10 miles was very small. After a hard day and night, the liquid level of the lake dropped by more than a foot. But this speed has already made those old demons horrified. Every faction has the means to collect the spiritual liquid, but compared to the two people gathering it almost like pouring water into a gourd and a jade bottle, their speed was much slower. However, even so, those old demons gathered a jade bottle or two, and they continued. There was no other way, no one knew that such a heaven-defying thing would appear here, and as soon as it was discovered, it attracted everyone's attention, and there was no time to fully prepare. Now there was a certain power that could quickly collect the true essence, the old demons could only do their best to collect some, and then stare at the other powers to see which power was behaving abnormally, and then wait to make plans after the collection was complete. Everyone has the same mind, if everyone collects such good things slowly, one or two could be tolerated. But once one guy can gather a lot, it will inevitably cause imbalances among the others. In this way, contradictions were slowly bred without being scarce and unbalanced. Yang Chen and Li Cheng were busy collecting the spiritual solution. Except for Gongsun Ling, all of the 4 women began to cultivate their second true essence, spirit power in the Mountain River geographical map. Gao Yu's 9th water true secret art, Shai Zhanxian, 8th metal true secret art, as well as Sun Kingsu second wood true secret art. There were so many second wood true essence spiritual solution. It was enough for Sun Kingsu to cultivate the second wood true secret art easily. The only thing missing was the 6th earth true essence that Gongsun Ling needed, but now Gongsun Ling's main task was not to cultivate, but to re-refine the Mountain River geographical map. It must be said that Li Cheng's refining method was indeed extremely powerful. It can re-refine the Mountain River geographical map that has become the life source magic weapon without affecting the use of the Mountain River geographical map. The purpose of this sacrificial refining was mainly to achieve spiritual power purification on the geographical map of mountains and rivers. In the future, the spiritual power provided by the masters in the geographical map of mountains and rivers could be easily absorbed by Gongsun Ling without worrying about too many side effects. This was a long-term process, even Li Cheng said it would take 200 to 300 years. Gongsun Ling was not in a hurry, but the initial cultivation was quite troublesome and Gongsun Ling could only work hard. More than 100 seriously injured old demons were collected into the geographical map of mountains and rivers and were easily distributed by Gongsun Ling within the huge area of the geographical map of mountains and rivers without enemies. There was no demonic Kai disturbance either, the old demons awakened one after another. Spiritual power was abundant, but all the magic weapons at their disposal have disappeared. Their Qiankan bag was completely searched by Gongsun Ling and they could only recover their injuries first and then try to figure out where they were. What no one knows was that every time they cultivated, it was equivalent to helping Gongsun Ling refine the geographical map of mountains and rivers and provide Gongsun Ling with a steady stream of spiritual power. Collecting the second wood true essence spiritual solution was a long-term process and there were a lot of spiritual solution here. Yang Chen and Li Cheng let go of their gourd and bottle only to absorb 1 foot of liquid a day. It will take a long time to absorb all these tens of feet deep spiritual liquid. Yang Chen never thought about it, he followed Li Cheng here and participated in this matter, and he was able to get so many benefits. With that said, Li Cheng's luck were so profound that it can't be explained. A large amount of second wood true essence spiritual solution was obtained, and Abby's body, the Jasper Blood Phantom Vine, grew extremely strong. In the medicine garden, a space was specially opened to hold the second wood true essence spiritual solution. If someone enters Yang Chen's medicinal garden at this moment, they will be able to find two huge ponds, one containing the first wood spiritual solution and the other with the second wood true essence spiritual solution. No matter what kind of spiritual medicine, it can be managed by Azhu and Abby with extraordinary vitality. The scouring of a large amount of the second wood true essence spiritual solution triggered a change in the space barrier. The 100,000-year-old medicine garden space handed over by the Greatest Heaven sect finally began to merge with Yang Chen's medicine garden. However, this time the space between the two parties was too different and the fusion was complete, but a new one was formed instead of directly fusing with the original space. In this way, the medicine garden has 3 levels of space. The first level is the 1,000-year-old spirit medicine, the second level is the 10,000-year level spirit medicine, and the third is the 100,000-year level spirit medicine. As Hu and Abby moved their bodies into the third dimension for the first time, the spiritual power there was more abundant, and with the watering of the first wood spiritual solution and second wood, true essence spiritual solution, the medicinal materials there appeared to be more lush. The green gourd in Yang Chen's hand became more and more emerald green, it had become pure emerald green. Holding it in his hand, it was like a translucent jade gourd, indescribably cute. Those old worms were willing to pay for the cost. Li Cheng seemed to be a little unbalanced about the magic weapon refined by the Dragon Clan. Watching the changes in the gourd in Yang Chen's hand, he muttered. Yang Chen, who got the bargain, obviously didn't mean to be obedient, but quietly holding the gourd and controlling the absorption of the second wood, true essence spiritual solution, without showing off at all. Li Cheng murmured a few words, and when no one answered, he calmed down, distracting himself with cultivation. Yang Chen didn't relax his cultivation either, but what he was doing now was to absorb those newly received demonic fire seeds. There were many first-grade fire seeds, second-grade and third-grade in the demonic fire seeds. For Yang Chen, it was not difficult to absorb, almost at a rate of 1 a day. He quickly absorbed it into the profound spirit furnace, and then it was absorbed by Yang Chen to merge into the yin-yang heaven burning fire. Suddenly so many basic fire seeds were added to the 2 fire dragons of the yin-yang heaven burning fire, and their shape became more and more realistic. Although it has not yet reached the point of lifelike, some horns and scales could already be displayed on the fire dragons. He believes that in time, after being able to absorb and fuse higher level fire seeds, the details of the fire dragons would become more detailed. While absorbing the fire seeds, Yang Chen paid attention to the situation of the 3 women who were cultivating the true essence secret art. Because they had cultivated a true essence secret art before, so with the second cultivation, the 3 women were all familiar with the process, and there were almost no obstacles. Half a year passed quickly, and the 3 women opened their eyes from the closed-door cultivation almost at the same time. Everyone had an aura of the true essence spiritual power, and their cultivation had also improved again. Sun Qingxu, with the worst cultivation base, was now in the middle Yuning stage, while Zhanxian, the strongest of the 3 girls, has directly reached the peak middle Yuning stage. After all, it was 2 kinds of spiritual power, but the same attribute. After the yin and yang were reconciled, the spirit power of the 5 element attributes was more than twice as powerful as that of a single type. At this time, the spirit power of the 3 women's cultivation base had all been converted to the original yin-yang spiritual power, and there was nothing more pure than their cultivation base. Of course, the purification and condensing of spirit power still requires a constant process to proceed. Both Yang Chen and Li Cheng emphasize the content of this aspect. In fact, there are records of how to purify their spiritual power in each method. As long as the girls cultivate carefully, they could naturally achieve their goals. Because of Yang Chen and Li Cheng's dissuasion and explanation, the 4 girls now did not pursue the level of spiritual power at all, but began to pursue the quality of spiritual power. No matter how high the realm was, you could only serve as a foil when you encounter people like Yang Chen and Li Cheng. It was better to try Li Cheng's method. Everything was proceeding step by step, and the level of the second wood true essence spiritual solution also began to slowly bottom out. The old demons of the several surrounding forces each collected the second wood true essence that they had collected, carefully guarding the surroundings, collecting the last second wood true essence while waiting for the final eruption. One or several forces forcibly collected more than 99% or more of the second wood true essence. They ate meat and left a little soup base for others. They didn't even plan to leave any soup, so it naturally aroused outrage. Everyone was waiting for the moment of the outbreak. The magic weapons at the bottom of their respective storage bags were prepared in advance. This time, some guys would be smashed into meat paste. As the spiritual solution level lowered, the forces in several directions became closer, and finally they were held together. A small friction was enough to trigger all disputes. When everyone was ready with red eyes, an abrupt cough directly detonated these dashing stage masters. Boom, all the flying swords and magic weapons flew out and countless various thunderbolts exploded madly. This time, they didn't ask for anything else, they only attacked to grab that massive amount of second wood, true essence from the opponent's hand. All the old monsters were desperate to kill their opponents. No one meant to be merciful. Under this scene, everyone understands, kill the other one. There would be more second wood true essence on his side. People die for money, so everyone was caught in a frantic attack. The fight this time was much more tragic than the last time. Last time most people were controlled by the heart demon, but this time it was an active fight and the attack was unprecedented. For the massive amount of the second wood true essence spiritual solution, everyone put down their disguise and beheaded their opponents mercilessly. Several forces fought, but no party voluntarily withdrew. In this scene, there was no room for a guy to withdraw wisely, who would quit now. Whoever has the biggest suspicion will definitely be attacked by groups. No one dared to make such a move and no one wanted to let anyone go. There were a few guys who were clever and wanted to escape first, but they were killed in the blink of a second. After the melee that lasted for more than half a month, only more than 100 old demons were left to fight. The other guys were either dead or seriously injured and unable to move. Even the rest of them were all scared and exhausted. What's more terrifying was that these remaining guys suddenly discovered that they were actually trapped in a formation unknowingly during the battle. Who arranged this formation, no one even understood. Everyone stopped their hands, looked at each other, and then watched the seriously injured companions disappear inexplicably before everyone's eyes. Which horrible force was this that has made a stance of fighting at all? Among the remaining old demons, the dozens of old demons who were the first to enter the side of the heart demon sect were all listed. With just a dozen of them, they killed at least 100 opponents. Which expert is it? Show yourself. Someone finally asked out loud. They were not afraid to be plotted against, but it was a shame to be plotted against so quietly. This time, Yang Chen and the others did not disappoint these old demons and showed up directly. When the 6 figures appeared in front of everyone, those old demons were all dumbfounded and shocked. "It's you?" Several people screamed out loud on the spot. Everyone was not surprised. Yang Chen, Li Cheng and the 6 of them, when they first met, there were only 2 in the middle Yuning stage and the others were in the early Yuning stage. If they hadn't used Yang Chen to purify the demonic eye to open the portal entrance, they would have killed them easily. Because of the strong tortoiseshell protection, no one could do anything to them, but no one thought that the culprit that made them kill each other so much turned out to be these 6 weak little guys. All the old demons were exhausted now. Not to mention the 6 Yuning stage masters, even 6 Jitan stage masters could dominate their life and death. After all, they have never trusted each other, otherwise, how could they kill each other so easily and be taken advantage of by Yang Chen and others? "Fine, I'll not wait until I die, all the things I get here belong to you." Someone immediately responded. "Just let me leave and I will surely offer it with both hands. If you change to yourself, will you let us go?" Yang Chen was non-committal, but asked back. Everyone's heart sank, knowing that this time they couldn't be kind. Yang Chen was right. If they were replaced by them, they would never leave anyone alive and let them retaliate in the future. Attack. They are all experts, after so many years of experience in the demon continent, no one has the habit of talking nonsense. Seeing that there was little hope, they immediately started to attack. After all, an old demon was also a master of the daching stage. A lean camel was bigger than a horse, and with all their best efforts, they may be able to kill 6 Yuning stage masters and fly far away. It's just that the wishes are beautiful, but the reality is cruel. As soon as everyone rushed out, a flower bloomed in front of them. When their vision became clear, everyone was stunned to find that they no longer knew where they were, and around, there was not even a single figure. "Aling, this time you have gained a lot." Yang Chen looked at Gongsun, who put away the geographical map of the mountains and rivers with joy and couldn't help but exhorted, "You can't stop the refining method given to you by your eldest brother." In just this last fight, Gongsun has added more than 100 daching stage masters and her spiritual power will only become more and more complicated in the future. Of course Gongsun knew what was good or bad, so she agreed repeatedly. At this point, the thousands of daching stage old demons who had planned to hit the heart of the heart demon sect ruins have been wiped out and there was no one left. If you're enjoying the content, please give it a like, comment, and subscribe to Fantasy World for more. Chapter 540. Extreme Cultivation. So many daching stage masters were all killed in just a few years and they were still concentrated a few times. Such a thing was unimaginable before. So many masters of the daching stage, it was not good to say that if they directly kill a few big sects, even if the big sects have their final trump card, it was estimated that their vitality will be greatly injured. The whole process was exceptionally smooth and there were not even a few people who really wanted everyone to do it. It was all because of the greed and mistrust of these guys. Otherwise, if they wanted to deal with thousands of daching stage masters, even Yang Chen and Li Cheng are also going to die. If it's really that simple, Yang Chen will kill the greatest heaven sect directly for revenge, why arrange so many twists and turns, and come to the demon continent to cultivate. In any case, the result was satisfactory. There were more than 1,000 daching stage masters, and in the end, more than 200 close to 300 old demons were trapped in the geographical map of mountains and rivers, and all the rest were killed, or died by their opponents, or died in the second wood truescent spiritual solution. Although this caused the spiritual power of the mountain river geographical map to be more complicated, it also doubled the power of the mountain and river geographical map. Moreover, when Gongsun Ling refined it, the difficulty was slightly reduced due to the increase of masters in the map. This was a very contradictory process because there were many masters, so the spiritual power was mixed, but just because there are more masters, there are many people who contribute and it was easier to refine. According to this principle, it should be to find more masters, but Gongsun Ling could not do this. The more masters there are in the geographical map of mountains and rivers, the more difficult it will be for Gongsun Ling to control. Now it was basically close to Gongsun Ling's limit. After this battle, Gongsun Ling could no longer have to find a master to fill in the geographical map of the mountains and rivers for a long period of time, otherwise it may be out of control, and the gain will not be worth the loss. Dragons could refine various spiritual powers by themselves, purify and refine by themselves. Therefore, when the geographical map of mountains and rivers was first made, there was no need to refine spiritual power. Now Gongsun Ling had to spend hundreds of years to refine it again. However, this also highlights the refining technique of Li Cheng. The geographical map of mountains and rivers that can be placed in the treasure house of the dragons must be the dragon masters who do not know how long and how much energy it took to successfully refine it. It takes only a few hundred years to fill this important function, which could be described as incredible. They really don't know how brilliant Li Cheng's family was that they could actually pass down such a peerless technique. Regardless of the cultivation methods or magic weapons that the old devils found, they were all gotten by Yang Chen and the others. Holding the jade slips and looking at them one by one, Yang Chen easily understood the principles of those cultivation methods, and he could be regarded as mastering this kind of cultivation method for refining inner demons. Collectively known as the Heart Demon's cultivation method. Simply put, this Heart Demon cultivation method of the Heart Demon sect was more similar to a method of self-psychological guidance, and it cannot completely refine the Heart Demon. The so-called direct refining of the inner demon to benefit from it was even more ridiculous, but it was after all the Heart Demon cultivation method. It's true that the mental state cultivation base could be improved a little from it. Moreover, the Heart Demon was the Heart Demon after all, and the Heart Demon cannot be completely eradicated. Under the effect of the strong demonic Kai, it can still be triggered. Otherwise, the Heart Demon sect does not need to seal the gate on a large scale and cite their migration. Some of the magic weapons obtained were similar to the tranquility of the black obsidian futon. When they reached this level of cultivation, they were actually not very useful. Rather, Li Cheng suggested that these magic weapons can be smelted together to form a large cultivation room. Whoever retreats in the future will have a lot of benefits. The matter of the Heart Demon sect was brought to an end with the collection of the second wood, truescent spiritual solution, and the destruction of the old demons. When Yang Chen and his party came out of that portal, they didn't see anyone else. Since the matter here is finished, I will look around again. One day, we will meet at the Dao sect domain. Li Cheng and Yang Chen reunited, also because of the Heart Demon sect ruins. Now that the matter was over, naturally he will no longer stay, so he directly said goodbye. Although Yang Chen was a little bit reluctant, he also knew that he would follow fate and took his 4 wives to salute the eldest brother Li Cheng and watched him leave. Husband, we also want to have more experience here. When Li Cheng left, Gao Yu and Zhanxian seemed to have an idea, still wanting to leave Yang Chen's side to gain experience. This place is full of demonic fiends, you can experience it, but you can't travel alone. Yang Chen thought for a while, shook his head slightly. You two should be in a group and you must pay attention to safety. The group of 2 was actually Gao Yu and Gongsun Ling's group, Zhanxian and Sun Qingxu's group. One of the 2 groups has the geographical map of mountains and rivers, and the other has the tortoise shield, both of which are top-level protection magic weapons. In the depths of this demon continent, they can be considered to be able to protect themselves. Everyone agreed on the time and place for the next meeting, and the 4 women left Yang Chen again, looking for the experience of demonized monsters fighting. Yang Chen once again became a loner, bare-headed commander. At this stage of Yang Chen, it doesn't make much sense to search for some ordinary demonized monsters to gain experience. In the demon continent, it was a pity that it was not experienced, so Yang Chen naturally targeted the demonized demon vine. On slaying the second demonized demon vine, Yang Chen discovered a strange phenomenon. After 9 nether flying sword absorbed the demonic eye of the demonized demon vine, it seemed that the induction of the demonic eye took a step up. Faintly, in the other direction, something seemed to be attracting the 9 nether flying sword. Before, because he wanted to solve the matter of the ruins of the Heart Demon sect, he didn't care about exploring, and now Yang Chen had time, and regardless of other things, he flew directly in that direction. He wanted to see what exactly was in that direction that could attract the 9 nether flying sword. Hundreds of low-grade demonic fire seeds have been absorbed, and basically all those below the 3rd grade have been completed. On the way, Yang Chen didn't waste time either, rushing on the way while absorbing the 3rd grade demonic fire seeds. Compared to the current profound spirit furnace or the yin-yang heaven burning fire, the 3rd rank demonic fire seeds were not enough, and it was easy to absorb. It only took Yang Chen a day or two more. This time Yang Chen hurried along, he was walking in a straight line, regardless of what kind of tough guys he would encounter on the road. The 9 nether flying sword was like a fish in the water here. The demonic fiends encountered along the way cannot withstand the blow of the 9 nether flying sword, even the monsters of the Daching stage. The strong monster who has no mind and only instinct was still easy to deal with after all. It only took a few months before Yang Chen arrived at the area that attracted the 9 nether flying sword. Seeing the situation, Yang Chen couldn't help but smile. Here was another valley, and likewise, there was another demonized vine. However, it was slightly weaker than the second one that Yang Chen killed. It seems that the artifact spirit of the 9 nether flying sword instinctively seeks out the same kind. This discovery made Yang Chen very happy. In this way, there was no need to worry about the demon orbs. This time, Yang Chen's yellow turban warrior body refinement technique has been raised to a small level, his spiritual power has also improved, and his strength has greatly increased, so it will be much easier to deal with a slightly weaker demonized demon vine. In about half a year, Yang Chen had another demon orb with a diameter of less than 2 feet in his hand, and the 9 nether flying sword absorbed the demonic eye and phantom of the demonized demon vine, and the tool spirit became even more powerful and a lot more flexible. Now, even Yang Chen was struggling to deal with the demonic eye of the 9 nether flying sword. It's time to calm down again and refine it carefully. After making a decision, Yang Chen went straight to the better gathering point without saying a word. This was the inner edge of the demon continent. There are only 2 or 3 gathering points. It took almost another 3 months before Yang Chen arrived at the gathering point. As soon as he entered the gathering point, Yang Chen attracted countless eyes. Those who can come to this gathering point were all masters of the Daching stage. Yang Chen was the only one who dared to rush here in the middle Yuning stage. All the people at the gathering point were a little surprised by Yang Chen's arrival. They don't know whether to say whether this young man was too lucky or too daring to be arrogant. However, since he could come to the gathering point, it seems that the former was more true. There were not many people in the gathering point, including those who have opened stores, there are only a few dozen in total. However, the one with the lowest cultivation base here was also in the middle Daching stage, and the one with the highest cultivation base was already surpassing the peak of Daching stage and catching up with the cultivation base of the Supreme Elders. The Supreme Elder of the greatest heaven sect last time, if he was here, he would never dare to break the rules so blatantly. He just doesn't know why these masters have been wandering in the mortal world and not ascending. After thinking about it, Yang Chen could only speculate that the purpose of these people should be the same as Yang Chen. It was to use the demonic eye to hone themselves. There are demonic cultivators and monster cultivators among them. Perhaps they want to greatly improve their state of mind here to make up for their lack of aptitude so that they can ascend to the spiritual world in the future not too far away. Yang Chen did not directly find a place to practice, but first strolled around this small gathering point. It must be said that the closer you are to the depths of the demon continent, the stronger the demonized beast and the bigger and bigger the demon orbs that everyone can get. The 3rd grade demon orb was common here. 2nd rank ones were not uncommon, but Yang Chen has not seen 1st rank ones. The most advanced one was a 2nd rank demon bead with 4 black lines on it. But such a big demon orb, few demon orb refiners could purify it to a higher level. Yang Chen found a room and started retreating. Said to be a retreat, in fact, it was a pretense. After quickly using the 9 nether flying sword to absorb all the demonic eye on 10 demonic orbs he just bought, Yang Chen continued to use the demonic eye to temper himself. The demonic orb was to cover the demonic eye on the 9 nether flying sword. Although Yang Chen could control the 9 nether flying sword so as not to emit too much demonic eye, he still lacks control, so some of it will escape eventually. The 9 nether flying sword, which concentrated the 3 demonized demon vines with demonic eye and phantom, was already somewhat resistant to Yang Chen's control. Every time the demonic eye triggers the inner demon. It was always like a violent storm, a thunderous wave, a wave after wave of demonic eye rushed to Yang Chen's heart. Referring to the methods of the Heart Demon sect, coupled with Yang Chen's own state of mind, Yang Chen's mind, like a mainstay, remains motionless. No matter how crazy these demonic Kai attacks were, they always came to block the water and cover up the ground, reducing the demonic Kai a little bit. The steel-like toughness tempered by his will. After almost a year, Yang Chen finally completely suppressed and refined the trace of resistance in the 9 nether flying sword, and only then did he leave seclusion. As soon as Yang Chen exited the seclusion, he soon caused a frenzy at the gathering point. There was no other reason, 5 pure golden demon orbs appeared directly in the auction list of the small auction house. Boom, the gathering point seemed to be detonated and all the figures went straight to the auction. Why do so many masters continue to bear the power of the demonic Kai in the demon continent? Isn't it just to be able to swallow one or a few high-grade demon orbs so that the cultivation base will be greatly improved and then they will survive the tribulation? Compared with the people who cultivate peacefully outside, the people who have experienced the demon continent were much more hostile. Under such circumstances, passing the tribulation was many times more difficult than the ordinary cultivator. This requires that they must have enough cultivation base to resist the tribulation, otherwise they can only end up dying. A high-quality demon orb, even the best demon orb refiner, can only purify it to the 4th level, leaving 4 black lines. Only the master's state of mind can handle it. It was not that there was no other way to eliminate the hostility, as long as you leave the demon continent, leave this place full of slaughtering demons, spend hundreds of years cultivating your mind, the hostility will naturally disappear. However, instead of spending hundreds of years on self-cultivation, it was better to practice here for hundreds of years. There is an 80% certainty that they can withstand stronger inner demons. They can also gain more training, and everyone understands which choice was better. In fact, sometimes these masters just can't let go, they just can't figure it out when they are in the game. At this time, no one knows better than these masters what it means for a pure golden 3rd grade demon orb to appear. This gathering place was too small, and there were only a few people, so the slightest movement cannot be concealed from anyone in the gathering point. Yang Chen, a super advanced demon orb refiner, suddenly became a favorite, and those 5 demon orbs were purchased at a high price for the first time, and it took only half a day for the auction to end. If you have a demon orb that needs to be purified, you can come and find me. Yang Chen casually left a message on the auction floor. Anything can be used to pay for it, as long as you can provide. In addition, when purifying the demon orb, I need a safe place to stay. This last requirement was met almost immediately. The best room in the gathering point, with several restrictions placed around it, even if the people outside were shaking the sky, it will not disturb the people inside. Everyone in this gathering point was eagerly waiting for Yang Chen to help them purify their demon orbs. If you're enjoying the content, please give it a like, comment, and subscribe to Fantasy World for more.